Good morning, beautiful people. It is Thursday, May 21st. Big day for the show.
Woo!
A man who has accrued billions
and billions
of dollars will be joining us in the second hour. Matt Light will be joining us in the first hour, but we cannot wait for this Mark Cuban conversation. And it kind of stinks for Matt Light, right? Matt Light, Super Bowl champion, business entrepreneur in his own right, Patriots steadfast tackle for a long time. He's in 30 minutes from now. Great conversation with him. Why has nobody come out and said, you know what, Jared Stidham, good quarterback, going to play great? Nobody has said it. No teammates have said it. No coaches have said it. Did Bill Belichick potentially tell the team not to even talk about who's going to be our quarterback, just move forward? Maybe. We'll ask Matt Light. We'll ask him about his life. And then whenever Mark Cuban gets on in the second hour, now he's rewarding bad behavior, which is, I think, rules 1 through 10 on what not to do of don't reward bad behavior. I misquote him last week at some point. He tweets and says, FYI, what you just said, I did not say. And we go, we're sorry. We correct our misquote. Then all of a sudden, what starts happening? DMs start happening between me and Mr. Cubes. Then email happens. And then all of a sudden now, Mark Cuban, while the NBA is releasing more and more information about their rollout plans. Shams Charania of The Athletic yesterday says that Orlando's becoming the front runner for NBA, like kind of a biodome thing for their tournament from to finish last season. Then now it's coming out that the NBA is thinking about a 1 to 2 week recall period starting June 1st, and then a 3 to 5 week training camp. So we're thinking maybe middle of July at latest that the 2019-2020 season will be finished in a tournament style. Is Mark Cuban going to tell us exactly what's going to go down in the second hour? How about a presidential run? He's been teasing and hinting, and everybody else has been talking about a presidential run for a long time. And no matter what your politics are, I think Trump was teasing a presidential run since like 1980 something. So any of these big notable humans, celebrities, if you will, whenever they start talking about presidential runs and then it kind of lingers along, it's like, hey, at what point are you going to do this? And that's our job to get that answer. Is Mark Cuban going to run for president at some point? And if you want, am I going to be your press secretary? Do we have does Zito have a spot on the cabinet? Does Viva La Zito have a spot on the cabinet? We got a lot of questions. I have no idea how long we have it for. It was originally scheduled to be at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which would be 58 minutes from right now. Got bumped back to 11:30. He has a very important call before that. What's on that important call? Probably going to lead off with that if I had to guess. Does that mean the Rona's done? Is the NBA back? What was on that important call? It was probably one of his 1,000 businesses that he runs to success to talk about them and coming out of the Rona. But boy, today's a big day. Can't wait to talk about everything. Shout out to Denny Hamlin, winning the NASCAR race last night down there at Darlington. I flipped it on for a little bit. I watched what they were doing. Kyle Busch got flipped off by Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott said, you're going to run me in the wall, pal? You're going to crash me? Huh? Eat a bird. This is what I think of you. You can't hear me because I got a helmet on and then a fire suit thing and a straw in there. But my words are with my hands, and this is what I think of you, Kyle Busch. And as somebody that's partied with KY, Kyle Busch a couple times, and knows KY a little bit, KY loves that. KY absolutely loves that. Kyle Busch absolutely loves that. And I like that NASCAR is back. Once again, last night, watching that race, thoroughly entertained. I have no idea what the stages are. I don't think I fully understand the rules. It's like, hey, you got a fast car. Drive that thing and ride it hard. Now, that's what I think of NASCAR. I just want to see the cars go. I don't understand all the rules, but I've enjoyed NASCAR. This is a big NASCAR show all of a sudden. Big NASCAR show all of a sudden. You know what else were a big show? Basketball.
Yeah.
Love it.
I got seasick watching that Game 6 against Utah Jazz from the editors of The Last Dance, their view of that Game 6. It was on ESPN last night. So they didn't have the game cast, which is from the normal camera. They had all these other cameras. They had like it felt like 50 other cameras almost. It was a lot of different angles. And I'm going to say this with a very straight face. Mark Cuban and all the other NBA owners, Adam Silver, they should be thanking whichever God they believe in upstairs, that basketball got so much better than it was in that day. That was the most boring basketball game I have ever seen in my life. You're talking about air balls going up and people, and the commentators, it was just so normal. They're like, Stockton with the rebound. I was like, no, that was not a rebound. That was a pass from the other team because they shot it and it hit nothing. I mean, it was bad basketball. Karl Malone, underneath, gets fouled. They don't call it. He yells at the ref. They have like a 4-minute conversation. He walks back, and he's still in position to play defense on that same drive. I mean, it was slow. It was bad basketball. And I think anybody that compares LeBron and Jordan just can't do it because it is too. Just like every sport, by the way, every sport evolves. Every sport gets better. As crafts get honed in and practice and specialization and exercise and like, hey, if you do this workout, you become faster, you can jump higher. If you tuck your elbow a little bit tighter, we've been able to master shooting. Here's a good pick and roll play that they found out back in the day that we can practice every single day so people are a little bit more open. The rules get opened up a little bit more so guys can fly around. But boy, that was very tough basketball to watch back in the day. And all the people that say Michael Jordan this, Michael Jordan that, I respect it, but that brand of basketball was terrible to watch. I mean, last night, not only was I seasick from the angles, but I almost fell asleep 5 different times. It was my first time watching an entire Jordan game. And it's like, I didn't expect this to happen, especially with everything I've heard about my MJ. This guy has made billions and billions of dollars selling shoes. That was bad basketball. I texted Foxy immediately. I was like, are you watching this? This is bad basketball.
That was the most shocking part. It was how slow the game was and how much different the game is now. It's like you said, it's literally incomparable.
Incomparable.
Right.
But
yeah, you get it.
We all get it, and it is incomparable. It looked like an LA Fitness pickup game. I was watching an LA Fitness pickup game all the way down to the humans that were playing. What's that dude's name?
Jeff Hornacek. Great
Hornacek
player.
looks like a principal and the head of the PTA, and he's running out there with Stockton. Looks like they're about to run to a student-teacher conference, and they're out there just running very slowly. Stockton's dribbling the ball over his head. Now, granted, Stockton was incredibly talented and very good at passing and all that stuff, and I understand they're good at basketball, but boy, you cannot compare what the basketball players of now are versus them. I'm not sure Stockton. No, I'm not saying it. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to compare. I don't want to compare.
That's the hard part. Like, you watch Stockton dribble the ball. Like, do you think Stockton and Kyrie Irving are comparable at all on how they handle the ball?
No, it's a whole different game now. It is a completely different game now. Watching that basketball game last night was like watching a high school basketball game. It was like watching LA Fitness.
You say that? Can you drop Michael Jordan into this era and he would be somewhat good?
I have no idea because the people he was playing against were Boston Connor.
So
pretty good.
He's the same weight and height as Kobe Bryant. Did Kobe Bryant do good in this era?
What?
Same weight, same height, same player.
Okay,
6'6", 215 pounds.
So we'll say he was good. He was a good competitor, but I don't think you can even. I don't think it's even a conversation, Zito.
I know. It's not in the conversation at all. But you saw what he did when he went to college. Like he was able to pick it up. I am going to not give up.
College was even worse.
No, I understand
playing
that.
against Mitt, but not even. It was even worse.
I totally understand that, but I'm saying like his work ethic to be the best player when he gets to the NBA.
Yes. Okay. So if he was born in this era. Yeah. With his work ethic, he would be unbelievable.
Exactly.
Because they have the practices and the workouts and everything that can make you a better player, which is why I don't think I don't even know why people waste their breath. It's two different sports at this point. What I watched last night is not the NBA now. And by the way, if the NBA was like it was last night, it's like college basketball. Yeah. Like that's just not. I'm not here for that. Like,
also he evolutionized the '90s, so he made basketball way better than it was. Like you saw what John Stockton was doing, like all those like bummish.
He was the
out there.
first person to do a lot of stuff, which is why I would assume a lot of people are like, okay, so trailblazer, absolutely trailblazer. But I don't think you can compare the two. I don't think you can compare.
Because LeBron's like a freak of nature. Like he's literally got put together in a factory.
Not just a freak of nature. He plays a completely different style of game.
That's it.
He's just in the game is nowhere near. So that was my first time watching an entire Jordan game. Mm-hmm. And I guess everything was coming up short was talked about, but it was just like, this is two different sports at this point.
It's just the pace of the game is so. The Warriors would run those teams out of the gym. I mean, the Warriors honestly seem like they're in better shape too. You got these guys smoking cigars and drinking beer, and just all that stuff alone is going to make.
Now, by the way, I will say that I am very pro cigar drinking professional athletes and beer drinking professional athletes.
Yes,
but I think now Every single thing that goes into their body is calculated.
Yes.
Everything, they have nutritionists that make them jump higher and run faster. I mean, that's all sports, by the way. I watched it happen in the NFL locker room. We used to have wings, nachos, fries, pizza, beer the night before games. Those were some of the best teams I've ever been on. And then as the nutritionists and science and the future health of people started becoming something that comes to the forefront, it was a whole different game. Like, here's your shake, you can have it. It has this much protein, this much kale, this whole thing. I'm like, I used to eat pizza before games, and I used to have a beer or two. Now I got a shake because it's going to make me kick a ball further. By the way, it did. So like, I can't really fight it that much. But it's just, it is a whole new world. It's almost like that parallel universe that NASA said is happening. It's just two different worlds. I don't think you should compare it, and we won't do it. Joining me, at Nick Moraldo is here, looking fantastic. At Tone Diggs is here. Ty Schmidt is here. Jason McAfee's here. Viva Lazita here. Big-time Chicago Bull Michael Jordan fan. At Evan Fox is here. And congrats, grad, Boston Connor.
Thank you, sir.
That cigar looks massive. This camera angle.
Graduation.
What did you do? You graduated college, yeah?
I graduated from college, sir.
Do you have an accent there, British?
Maybe today I do, sir. I'm much smarter now.
See, I saw the way you were dressed going in there. Okay, I saw this, and I thought it was going to be a tribute to the 2020 grads who aren't in school. You know, I thought it was going to be a tribute to the graduates of both high school and college who don't have the same graduation that everybody else has been afforded for, you know, the existence of education, basically. But instead, this is not that. This is him saying, no, I graduated. This is me. Screw the kids.
Yeah, you got it.
What school did you go to?
Fairfield University, sir.
Fairfield University.
Yes, sir.
Is that your actual school?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, all right. I don't know. I don't know if you graduated from there, and I don't know if that is a school that anybody would say, yeah, that's where I went to school at.
It's an awesome school, sir.
I saw the video of you shirtless with Tim's on in the front. I think that school would be a great time.
Oh, yeah.
That school would be a great time.
Oh, it is.
Not sure if it's for school. Is that a Southern accent there?
No, it's because Southern accent, yeah. It is.
What do you got on the board over there?
On the board I have, MJ is the greatest competitor of all time, but not the greatest basketball player.
Oh, man. See, we just said we're not going to compare. So I'm not even going to get into that guy's statement back here.
If you do drop him in any era, he will win because he's the greatest competitor, but as a basketball player, there's no way.
You're saying his film, you can't judge his film versus other film player because the style of basketball at the time. But if Michael Jordan was born in this era, which is what we just got done saying, he would have been able to figure it out because of his work ethic.
Yeah, the dedication to the craft now is just much more serious than it was back then.
I concur. I concur completely. And all these kids, by the way, they're getting that Jordan deal that he got when his mom made him fly out to Oregon when they're like 13 years old. Yeah. So the amount of money he probably could have, I mean, it was just... Now, granted, I don't know if he would have made any more money than he's already made now, and I don't know if the Jordans are the Jordans, because remember, that was the first real step into that world. So not only did he come in and change the game on the court, he changed the game off the court, which is awesome, but now this generation is just taking it to a next level, both on the court and off the court, even though nobody will be able to catch Jordan off the court with the amount of money he's made with those shoes.
And thankfully so, because today's game, I will say, is a lot more fun to watch than what we watched last night.
Last night was snooze. It was the golf tournament.
Yes, it was.
It was the golf thing. Air ball commentator. Not even like it was like Stockton with the rebound, taking it back the other direction. It's like, are we not going to talk about how a professional athlete just hucked up a mid-range jumper in the finals, Game 6, and it wasn't even close to the rim?
So we should thank Jordan then for changing the game.
Yeah, I think Jordan. There it is.
We should thank
Jordan birthed a baby
Yeah.
of basketball that was much more entertaining to watch than basketball was before him. Yeah. So for that, we thank Daddy Jordan.
Thanks, Mike.
Hey, there you go.
Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Michael, for making basketball a lot better. That you can never take away from him. He definitely did. And joining us today, working for free, only came in because Mark Cuban's on the show, Emmett McMahon. Mitt, please, you have anything to say? Or?
I'm a hard worker, and I did not just come in because Mark Cuban's
yeah, hard worker. Yeah, you're a hard worker. There's jealous Connor back there. Yeah, a little rivalry on air between you and Connor. I don't even know if you know it exists. It seems to be a one-way road of hate from that guy to you.
not just on air.
Oh, off air. All right, okay. You don't deserve that, Emmett, but you know what? It'll toughen you up, you know? It'll get you going. but you are here working for free. We will not pay you for today because the deal was Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Connor, why are you happy about that? Why are you happy about a guy not making money? This man is working his ass off down here with this keyboard, and now you're happy he's not getting paid for some of his work.
I'll be happy for him when he gets himself one of these. Get yourself one of these. And then we'll talk.
Oh, so that's why you wore that, was to flex that you graduated college and Emmett has not yet.
He knows nothing about the world.
Oh, geez. Yeah, you do. Okay, so there's a couple other things that we should talk about today. NCAA, a lot of conversation from NCAA. Commissioner was on. Ohio State's athletic director, Gene Smith, said that they have figured out a way to get 22,000 to 50,000 people in their stadium. So I don't think you have it figured out, by the way, if it's that big of a window. But I do like that there is optimism by these people who were saying it was 50,000 was the quote we saw on Pro Football Talk. This tweet says 30,000, but Pro Football Talk this morning said 50,000. So I'm not 100% sure who was wrong, Mike Florio or that Twitter account. But whatever it was, well, now it's a completely different world if it's 20 to 30,000 and then 22 to 50,000, because my entire angle there was, well, if it's that big of a jump, they don't have it figured out.
They mentioned it on Get Up, too, that it could be 50 to 60 if restrictions are loosened up, like big time.
Okay, so if it's 22 to 60,000, it normally holds 105,000, I guess. So I like the fact that they're trying to plan on how to go about doing this. How do we go about safely doing this? And I listened to Cuban talk in a couple other conversations, and he was talking about how everybody thinks it would be every other seat or something like that. It's like, well, if the Cuban family comes, you can keep the Cuban family together, right? Because they've been around each other already. They're in the house together. So maybe they're sequestered a little bit away from another family that's there, and then you have people serve. So I think there's more people going to be able to get into these stadiums on the current world that we're living in. We have no idea what's going to be in 2 months from now. I think you see a lot of cities, just like Indianapolis, right back into things. I mean, they're shutting down streets. They're trying to abide by the rules, but it's all a big... Every rule seems to contradict another rule that's being made. So unprecedented times, I don't think anybody has a clue what's going on. But in the sports world, the no crowd thing is not only a financial massive hit for people that they're trying to figure out, but now that they're trying to figure it out, it feels like everybody has their own concepts of what could potentially happen. At what point, because we're only a couple months away from things having happened, at what point does the final concept come together for people? I don't know if we'll ever know that answer, huh?
No. Probably not. I mean, they said, we're 100 days out from the college football season starting, and like you mentioned, like all this stuff. I mean, that's a massive gap between 20,000 people and 60,000 people there. Like, it could change next week and be back up to 100,000.
And maybe the week after that, somebody sneezes on the wrong person, and all of a sudden that thing's down to only 3,000 people can be in public together. I mean, it's all question marks, but it does feel as if everybody's finding their workaround for if things are to continue to happen. And I don't mind 22,000 to 60,000 people in the stands. And now, granted, they'd be scattered out, I guess, so they won't be able to be as loud of a voice. But hey, at 105,000 seat stadium, that's awesome. But what about the stadiums that are 25,000, 30,000? What does that mean? They get down to at least half, lower to half, 15,000, 10,000? Okay, at least we're trying to make something happen. And I don't want to say this is 100% because of financial reasons that people are saying this. I think it's also because of the atmosphere, environment of the game that they're trying to build back up. I don't know if anybody has a clue what the hell's going on. We'll talk to Mark Cuban about it, who's a part of the committee who was assigned by the president to bring sports back. Yep. What are they saying in there? Are they all on the same page? You got a lot of alphas in that conversation. Dana White, Vince McMahon, Mark Cuban, Roger Goodell's in there. I mean, I was going to say Rob Manfred, but I don't know if he's talking much in there, because I bet you they are all like, hey, we've seen you handle things. Just get on board with us or whatever. I wonder how many different messages are being sent in that committee. I couldn't even fathom how many hard-headed people were in there. Jerry Jones, if he's in there, think about that. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
My feeling is if you're going to have 20 to 22 or 40 to 50 or 60, why not just fill the stadium? I mean, like, how safe can you make it?
Well, everything now is getting around. It's like a cover your ass situation for the guidelines. Mm-hmm. That's what everybody's doing. I don't know, and none of it makes sense to me. And I have openly said that I don't know enough about this to give a real opinion. But now that it is, kind of being shoved down our throats, come back into this thing. Like Diggs has that massive beard right there. At the beginning of this entire pandemic, you remember they said you got to shave your beard because the mask won't fit. So if Diggs wears a mask in public, and we learned early in this entire thing that there's a 6-foot separation because they thought that this thing, coronavirus, could go from you, do a little hop ski, less than 6 feet, land on somebody, and then take them out. But now if you wear a mask, you're allowed in a grocery store together. There's no such thing. And if Diggs' mask isn't on how it's supposed to be because the beard, allegedly, how's that thing who could jump 5 feet and kill somebody allegedly earlier? How's that thing not sneak out the side of that mask and then it's out and about? I mean, I don't think any of it really makes sense to me, and I just don't know how it's all going to pan out. I have no idea.
I mean, I have no idea. I thought that was with like the N95s that are supposed to like suction your face, and I don't know the comparison to the one, like just the cloth ones.
But I've seen a lot of people out and about, and then the guy in NASCAR, by the way, he might have the best mask yet, where he took a picture of his face and put it on there. It looked like his nose and his mouth. He was just smiling the entire time. Would have picked a different mouth, but I think he was on to the right concept, as normal as possible. And when he was talking, it looked like anonymous because you could see his jaw moving, but you couldn't see anything, you know what I mean? So, but I feel like those things, there's a lot of air on the sides. So is everybody going to have to wear gas mask? Like, what is the...
You mentioned families going to the games together. What are they going to do with the students who want to go to these games?
I have no clue. I have no idea how any of this is going to work. And that's why in the second hour, we got a guy that could potentially give us all these answers in Mark Cuban. 20 minutes after the hour, we got to get to our first break here for radio. Matt Light joins us in 10 minutes. Former offensive tackle for the New England Patriots, Super Bowl champion, and owner of Keel Vodka.
Ooh, wow.
Keel Vodka. Is there somebody sawing on our...
It sounds like it, yes.
Leaf blower again.
Awesome. Never ends. Matt Light in 10 minutes. Take some phone calls during the break at youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. This is that show. I don't know why you're listening or watching, but we appreciate you on this Thursday, May 21st. Your motivational speech for our listeners to come back to McAfee and Hawk, a sports show, tomorrow.
So, yeah, I'm not doing an inspirational thing. You like to do this and try to paint me into a corner and get all your little buddies to cheer and rally around and have the sarcastic cheer for me to do something like that.
No, that's not what we do at all. You don't know us at all.
So, yeah, I know your game. I'm older than all of you, too, I believe. So, like, it's not like I'm the little brother that you're taking advantage of. That's what you try to do here in these moments. I know.
No.
So, I can hearing the guys' voices in the background. AJ.
Hey, Don, you there?
But, yeah, I think right now we're in the weirdest time ever, Pat. We really are.
Yeah, we are.
It's a brutal, weird time. Stop clapping for me. It's not a motivational talk.
Yeah, it is. Let's go.
You have a 10 to 12 radio show still every day, correct?
Oh, yeah, I do.
So, yeah, most likely at 1 p.m. daily, we're going to go on here, and we're going to talk about what's going on and see free agency in the world.
Where's a wall for me to run through? Thank you for that, AJ.
This is so stupid.
That's what we're talking about, AJ. AJ Hawk. AJ Hawk. AJ Hawk. AJ Hawk. AJ Hawk.
Look good, feel good. Feel good, play good.
Play good, pay good. Pay good, live good, die good. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here, Thursday, May 21st. Got a couple tweets saying that they did not appreciate what we talked about 90s basketball. Said some words that were also okay in the 90s, not okay now in the said tweet. This was just my observation. Just my observation. Two very different sports. Two very different sports. 90s NBA and now NBA. Not sure you can compare the two. It just wouldn't make any sense at all, I don't think.
And I think people in the 90s would say you are 100% right.
Not the tweet.
Not that guy.
Not the tweet.
Not that guy.
We got a tweet that sawed Foxy down.
Not a fan of Foxy.
Really hard. Not a fan. And he also said he's not a fan of the show anymore because of what we talked about.
I apologize for that, Pat. You lost a fan because of me.
It wasn't your fault. I watched the same game you watched last night. It was a bad basketball game.
And 20 years from now, too, who says that the guys today aren't terrible?
That's what I'm saying. Like Zion's going to carry this thing in the next generation, and it's going to continue to go. And by the way, that's what's supposed to happen. Things are supposed to get better and better and better, and that's very much what has happened in the last 20 plus years in the NBA. That sport has gotten much better, which, by the way, good for everybody. Good for the fans, good for the owners, good for the league, good for the game. And respect the game, which is what we do here, especially in Indiana.
The only part I didn't enjoy that Foxy said was talking about how all they did was drink beers and smoke cigars. Well, today all they do is smoke cigars and they're winos, so there's no real difference there.
Well, wine, you're supposed to drink at least one glass a day.
Yeah, it's healthy.
Well, not a whole bottle before the game and blow a season.
And by the way, who knows what researcher said that at this point? What big wine paid for those
is a
researchers
good
to say?
point.
Yeah.
We've always just run with it, but now that we
Big grape.
now that we kind of
Welch's.
Big grape pushing hard for that wine study to come out. But literally nowadays in 2020, you know that any research or study that comes out, you're like, the first question is, who paid to have that study done? Let's talk about it. Because we're putting a study together right now.
Yeah.
It's whether or not you can leaf blow outside our studio at any other time other than we are completely live. Don, welcome back to the show. Let's go to Kenny in Berkeley, California.
Pat, what's up? How you doing? Pat, you hear me?
Yeah, you sound great. What's going on, bub?
I'm chilling, man. Shout out to you guys and all the boys. You guys are electric when we need it. Thank you guys for doing what you're doing.
Hey, Kenny, it's the least we could do. I'm going to be honest with you. Somebody just dropped my bat. We're a big baseball show. You know that. But somebody just came after us on Twitter for our open here. And hearing you say that really makes me feel a lot better. Scratches me where I itch. I'm picking up what you're putting down, Kenny. What do you want to talk about?
All right. So there are 8 teams in the NFL that finished last in their division last year. We got the Dolphins, the Chargers, the Bengals, the Jaguars, the Redskins, the Cardinals, the Lions, and the Panthers. My question to you is, which of those 8 do you think has the best chance of going worst to first?
Lions.
Yes.
I think the NFC North is a
Lions.
big. I think the Lions. I think the NFC North. Great question there, Kenny. I think the NFC North is the biggest question mark. I love Aaron Rodgers. Love him. Everybody knows that. Mad Mel loves Aaron Rodgers. Love the Green Bay Packers. I'm almost a Green Bay Packers fan at this point. But I think the NFC North is a big old question mark. Aside from the Vikings might be the most complete team coming back, to be honest with you. They lose Stephon Diggs. They bring in somebody younger, cheaper that they hope will be able to do the same thing. Still got Thielen, still got Dalvin Cook. Kirk Cousins signs another deal. They made a playoff run. Did they get the monkey off their back of being able to perform in big-time situations? I think potentially. But aside from that, Chicago Bears, who's going to be a quarterback? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Did the Packers get better, or will they have somebody just run 186 yards before contact on them like that? What happened in their last game? Maybe that's the case. How about the Lions, who were in 8 of 9 games last year, had the lead in 8 or 9 games last year before losing? Are the Lions ever going to be able to get off the schneid? I'm just not 100% sure. I think the NFC North is the most up for grabs division that there is coming into the league next year.
And out of all those teams, I would argue Stafford's probably the best quarterback. And they remind me of the San Francisco 49ers 2 years ago. Jimmy G gets hurt. Stafford gets hurt. Then they come back, have an incredible year. No one expects it. Hoping for that 10-6 and a playoff win, baby.
You've been hoping for that for your entire life.
My entire life, I've said 10-6 and a playoff win.
And they always say you can hope and pray in one hand and whatever in the other, and see which fills, and poop in the other one, see which one fills up faster. But it does feel as if Matthew Patricia, who everybody thought was potentially going to get the last year, come back another year, more people that are his type of guys in there, another year in the system. Will the Detroit Lions be the team that makes the big jump? Matty Stafford's already selling his house, well, for Dad of the Year reasons.
Yeah, of
Dad
course.
of the Year reasons. They got Dams. Dams are going down, and
Yeah.
it's like Evan Almighty right now in Michigan. Flint still doesn't have water. Do the Lions get up and get going for their? Is this the team of destiny? Are the Lions the team of destiny up next year? We're just not sure.
Yeah, and then definitely probably the Dolphins in the AFC, right? Because that division also is definitely up for grabs.
And we don't know what's going to happen with Fitzpatrick. We don't know what's going to happen with Tua. I like B-Flow. Brian Flores, the coach who almost fought a ref last year, brings in Kyle Van Noy, brings in a couple other players, brings in his style. I think the Dolphins potentially make a good run. So, I mean, here we go. Because the AFC East is wide open. On Get Up yesterday, they ranked the quarterbacks in the AFC, in the AFC East.
Yep.
And Greeny was obviously a diehard Jets fan, always has been. And they put Tua above Sam Darnold. Tua has not even played in the NFL yet. So it's Stidham was ranked 4th, I believe, and nobody even knows if Stidham's going to be the quarterback next year. I mean, it's just the AFC East is wide open for the first time in a long time, all because, or perceived to be wide open for the first time in a long time, all because Tom Brady decided to head down to Tampa Bay.
Hey, Jared Stidham, what they say, he's got the brain for it, boys. So we get him out on that field. He throws a couple darts all of a sudden.
There's a lot of very smart guys that have played quarterback in the NFL, and there's a lot of smart guys who play quarterback in the NFL who lost a lot of games. I mean, that is just in fact, we think Dan Orlovsky is one of the smartest quarterbacks maybe to ever get on TV, break down plays, and do that stuff. Literally went 0-16.
But
I love Dan Orlovsky. I think he's one of the smartest guys talking. Every time he speaks, I feel like I'm learning something. But at quarterback, I mean, he attempted to win an entire season, and he didn't. And that's not his fault. I assume there's a lot of outlying factors, but you have not heard one single Patriots player come out and say, Jared Stidham, good player. It's always, he's a smart guy, picked up the offense, good person to have in the locker room. All great traits, by the way.
Yeah.
All great traits to have as quarterback. Not one person who said, you know what? That guy's a good quarterback. And that is alarming. That is alarming. I would like that to be known.
absolutely, all those guys who were smart didn't have Bill Belichick as their coach. And, play to the strengths. If we got to hand the ball off 45 times a game, we will.
Who was the I know Matt Millen was the GM. Who was the coach of the Lions when you guys lost every game? He didn't even know Woodward
I
was.
believe it was Marty Morningweg. I
That
could
sounds
be wrong.
right. That does sound right.
Marty Morningweg, a little bit different than Bill Belichick, as is Matt Millen with Bill Belichick. You're right. There is two different situations there. But just because he's a smart quarterback doesn't mean he's going to win games. But maybe he will. Maybe he's athletic. And who knows? Maybe he's not the starting quarterback. They just extended Patrick Chung so they could basically make a little bit more cap room next year, move that to next, which is what they used to do with Tom Brady all the time. Patrick Chung, OG the team. Hey, how do we do this? Let's renegotiate. Opens up another $975,000 of cap room or $925,000 in cap room. And you said this morning, hey, how about we just do Cam Newton 1 year, $2.5 million? We can't afford it. What if Cam Newton's your starter next year? Nobody from the Patriots organization or anybody that knows the Patriots organization has said that Cam Newton and the Patriots have any likelihood of being together. But that is something that could potentially happen because Bill Belichick did not rule it out. Speaking of Bill Belichick, a man who won Super Bowls with him, a man who owns Kiel Vodka, great vodka.
Love it.
And right now, Matt Light wants to send you and a friend to watch Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints at Raymond James Stadium. It takes only $10 to enter. All proceeds benefit the Light Foundation. That is an incredible package. Shout out to this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, friend of the show, Matt Light. Attaboy, Matt!
All right. We are fired up this morning. Let's get it on.
Well, you're giving away a hell of a package here. You and a friend, Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Buccaneers, taking on Drew Brees at Raymond James Stadium. Where are they sitting? Where are we sitting? How do we sign up for this? It's only $10. I'm pumped for it.
Yeah, GameDayTampa.com. So if you go to GameDayTampa.com, you can get as many raffle tickets as you want, as little as $10 worth. These packages are incredible because everybody can participate. If you spend $10 and you don't win, you're helping out two incredible foundations. The Light Foundation, which we've been working for almost 20 years now, and trying to get kids into the outdoors and indoor leadership academies. And then Mike Allstott and his family foundation and the work he does. But I called up Allstott and I said, hey, look, Allstott, you're still in Tampa. You're a god down there. Everybody loves you. Can you help me put together a great package? And, look, an opportunity like this on November 8th, when the Saints are going into Tampa Bay, I have a feeling that it's going to be a little different than what the games used to be in the past with Brady and Gronk and everything that's happening right now. It's going to be pretty legit. So this is one heck of a game, and it's going to feature the two best quarterbacks in the history of the game. And I can say that because as a left tackle, you can suck every single play if your two quarterbacks in high school or in college and in the pros are Drew Brees and Tom Brady. So I'm excited to introduce some people to those guys and let them have a great time. They're going to be sitting in a suite. It's going to be an awesome package. And if you go to GameDayTampa.com, it's all expense paid trip.
Great sell, and you're selling yourself awfully short, but not bad coattails to ride there, Drew Brees and Tom Brady for your entire life. Not bad at all, by the way. Let's talk about playing with Tom Brady. Tom Brady, it came out that he's been working out at a prep school with a couple of the guys. Rob Gronkowski had been there before, but the media didn't catch him there. There's this incredible tweet that comes out from the center named, what's the center?
Ryan Jensen.
Ryan Jensen, where he talks about Tom Brady explaining the towel situation, that he is going to put down his pants because Tom Brady doesn't want to have his hands in a ass sweat for the entire time. Is that something that Patriots offensive linemen joked about, or is that just something like, hey, this is the way it is and we completely understand? Because I never understood how, now granted, offensive linemen are being paid to be overweight. A lot of sweat comes in those games. And these quarterbacks who their money is all being made right here are expected to shove their hands up in the worst part of the body for sweat. The worst. And now this is coming out that Tom Brady was like, hey, maybe my first 10 years before I won 6 Super Bowls, I would do that. But now this is what you're going to do. Is this a real thing, or is it just a funny tweet?
No. It's definitely a real thing. I can think back to my rookie year when Damian Woody and Mike Compton used to split time at center, which is hard for me to even fathom that we actually played ball in that manner, right? Like if we had to shotgun it, Mike Compton would move from left guard to center because Woody's shotgun snap was terrible. So they had to figure out, how to get the towel right for both of these guys so that, he didn't have the sweaty ass crack syndrome hitting him right in the face. But it's definitely real. I can remember Copen always having to mess with it and always get it right at the beginning of practice. And, quarterbacks are finicky, okay? That's all you can say about it. I mean, when you have a manicure that's as rock solid as these quarterbacks in the NFL have, you don't want to have it tarnished with any ass sweat.
Hey, won 6 Super Bowls. I don't want ass sweat on my hand either. I got rings on my hand. I don't need any of your ass sweat on it. I like that a lot. What is Tom Brady going to bring down to that locker room, you think? I already setting up these workouts. I think you had Blaine Gabbert and the third-string quarterback was there with him. O.J. Howard, who allegedly wanted out of town whenever they brought in Gronkowski, he was there. Mike Evans was there. It feels like he's a real, like a unifier of men, which is kind of unexpected, especially when you think about a guy who sells Uggs and has this reputation that he has. It feels like he's a real team-first unifying guy. Is that an accurate assessment?
Yeah, well, it's him. He's going to bring everything to Tampa that's got him where he is today. And some people would say, is it Bill? Is it Tom? When you're around both of those guys, what you realize is that they both bring something really extraordinary to the table, each in their own way, each in, with their own respective positions at the heart of it, right? So Tommy's not going to overstep his boundary, right? He's not going to go tell Bill to do something. And Bill's never going to, go overboard and saying, hey, Tom, it's got to be this way, because there was a mutual respect there. It's just a tough place to play here in New England. So what I think you're going to see in Tampa is Tommy having the ability to do maybe more of some of the things that he really wanted to get to. And in this case, I would say the only thing that he's going to work on is making sure that he doesn't throw the ball on every down, because if he had it his way, I think he'd throw that thing each and every single play. But he realizes that the running game is his best friend when it's worked out well. I mean, it's the reason they won their last Super Bowl. It's the reason when I was there that we had a lot of, championships and had a lot of success. So I think he will do a good job mixing and matching. But what you're going to see is Tom Brady at his best. Tom Brady fired up to play the game. Tom Brady competitive and doing what he's always done. And he's got a lot of great targets to be excited about.
It's very interesting that you say that if he could, he would throw it every play, because one of the knocks on Tom Brady is that he's a game manager. He actually doesn't take those shots. They run the ball a lot. So hearing that Tom Brady is just like every other quarterback basically and wants to throw it every single time. Now he's going into Bruce Arians' offense, which basically is hey, look, we got to run the ball, right? We have to run the ball because we want to set up at least a play action. But they're going to throw it 50 times a game potentially. I didn't know that Tom Brady was a guy that like has been asking for that, yearning for that. I'm pumped to see him get a chance to experience that for like basically the first time since what? They had Randy back then.
Yep.
Yeah, and listen, most quarterbacks are that way, right?
Yes.
They want to throw the rock. It's understandable. They love playing catch with their buddies. It's like, being on vacation every day. But, when you go to the line of scrimmage and you have a check with me and you have the ability to run maybe up to 2 different run plays, one on this side, one on that side, looking for the open look, looking for the drop down safety here so we run away from pressure, whatever it may be. There's always typically a pass with that check with me. And if there's even a chance that he can get the ball out of his hands and in time with everything else, he's going to go with that pass play. But I'll say this. When he's throwing the ball really well, everybody always talks about how the run game can set up the pass, but the pass can actually set up the run. It's true both ways. And I think you'll see them do that at times, right, where they're going to have a lot of success throwing the ball around. It's going to take a little while for people to understand what they do. And then as they start to figure things out, it's going to open up the run game a little bit and vice versa.
Offensive linemen and quarterbacks have a long history in one particular group wanting to run so that they can get the defensive line off of their ass and not just have their ears peeled back, and quarterbacks just wanting to throw the rock all the time. Jeff Saturday and Peyton Manning have one of the greatest exchanges in mic'd up history on the sideline, where it ends with Peyton Manning screaming, "Well, just block, Jeff." It's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. Let's talk about the quarterback now at the Patriots. Nobody has come out and said, okay, and this, I want you to tell me if you think this is from a Belichick order through a Zoom call, if this is a text from the Patriots telling people how to watch what they're saying. Nobody has said Jared Stidham's going to be the quarterback from the Patriots organization. Nobody has said he's going to be a starter. Nobody from the Patriots organization has said, yeah, Jared Stidham, really good player. They said he's a good guy. He's a hardworking guy. He's smart. He's all these things. But nobody has come out and said, like, Jared Stidham last year lit us up on the scout team. Jared Stidham did this. Jared Stidham did that. And when Belichick was asked about it on draft night, he was like, I like all 4 quarterbacks we have, and we don't know what's going to happen down the road if they bring in more. Nobody has come out and said that Jared Stidham is A, great quarterback, or B, the starter. Is this just how the Patriots speak about things? Like, hey, nobody give away any information? And do you think that is a directive from Belichick to the team?
I mean, look, we're not talking about Jared Stidham, okay? We're just not. All right? Look, we're moving on, okay? We're not dealing. You're not hearing anything because there's nothing to be said, and that's 11 years of being in the system. But in a lot of ways, it's 100% factual, right? Bill wasn't lying. He doesn't know which one of his guys are going to be the guy yet. I think they have a lot of confidence, in Jared Stidham. I think they like what they've seen. I think he's had a pretty good opportunity to study from the best. I think he understands what's expected of him. Can he deliver? There's a lot of things that have to come together before you can answer that question. Is he capable? Sure. Would Bill say that? Never. There's just no upside to saying it, so he's not going to do it. So you're going to feel as if there maybe is a lot of uncertainty, where there probably is a lot more comfort than you'll ever realize. But when the bullets are flying for real, we're going to find out exactly what he can and can't do. And there's going to be a lot of people chomping at the bit to expose what he can't do very well. And, I think Bill's going to do a good job of limiting how much they expose, his kind of lack of experience early in the season. They're going to take care of him. They're going to try to manage him as best they can. But what they really need is the offensive line to go above and beyond. They had a lot of issues last season, obviously losing David Andrews before the season ever started. He didn't play a snap. He's kind of the heart and soul of that offensive line. Both their tackles were injured on and off. They've got a guard. Will he be there? Will he not be there? And is everybody truly going to be healthy? I'm more worried about that than I am about the quarterback play.
We're a big offensive line show here. Big offensive line show. Everything is won in the trenches. That is, at the end of the day, if your offensive line sucks, you're going to lose whenever the games matter. That's just that is just how it goes, because defensive linemen now are too talented, too good. They can expose a plug or a weak link, and then now your run game, your quarterback, everything's screwed. So you're saying if the Patriots offensive line is good next year, does not matter who's playing quarterback.
It's just not as important, right? I mean, you're talking about a coaching staff. You know, if you think about Josh McDaniels and all the different things that he's seen, you know, in his time as a coordinator, and you think about the experience Bill brings, when you have great coaches and you have a great system and you have a lot of really good players, you can overcome a lot of things that have to do with pure talent based on how you practice, how you prepare. But again, here we're talking about preparation and how well you can get guys, you know, ready to play the game when no one is able to do what they're normally doing at this time. So he's got a lot of things going against him right now. Doesn't mean anything at this point, but it just means that he's going to have to come out of the gate swinging pretty hard.
All right, Matt. 3-time Pro Bowler, 3-time Super Bowl. I got one of the best pass sets. Yeah, I got one of the best pass sets in the history of the internet. Okay. Judge this as if nobody is running against me. Okay. They've shifted the defense. They're running a stunt the opposite way from me. I might have to go clean up, if anything, but I'm going to watch my side first. Okay. What are we on?
Okay.
We on 1 or 2? What's the down?
Second down.
Okay, just basic ass play. Okay. What is this on 1 or is this on 2? What is it?
I can't tell you, but you'll know when the ball's snapped.
Okay. All right.
You ready?
Yeah.
Blue lady, say hut. Was that a speed to power?
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
just a straight speed to power.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've been working on it, actually. I've been working on the pass set to the cleanup across the pocket. Let me pick up the extra guy coming across. Hey, I got you, Tom. I got you, Peyton. I got you, Jared Stidham. I got everything you could possibly need.
See, I was so confused. See, I thought you were pass rushing against me. You were actually
No, we were together. Yeah, I pass setted. We were on the same team.
You do
So I was way off. Yeah, I was on a different wavelength. But I'm going to tell you right now, the hips. It's all in the hips. If you got the hips, you're really popping the hips. You're good. Yep. There it is.
See that?
Squeeze the ribs with the elbows. Thumbs up. Squeeze the ribs with the elbows, and you got this. There we go.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, 3-time Super Bowl, 3-time Pro Bowler, owner of Keel Vodka, and also go to Game Day Tampa.
Game Day Tampa, baby. Little as $10. We'll see you down in Tampa. We're going to have a great time. Island Way Barn Grill, hotel, airfare, everything's in there. Yeah! If you don't win, hey, you're helping us out, man. It goes a long way.
Good guy, Matt Light.
Yeah!
We got to get to a break right now. Can't thank Matt Light enough for his time. I am winded. When you go across the pocket and get you, we're back on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
Yep.
Yup, we can. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here Thursday, May 21st, wrapping up hour one. Just had Matt Light on, have Mark Cuban on in the second hour to talk about things that we should cover because we're a daily live show. Our friend Frank. What's going on, Frank?
Things that we should cover because we are a daily live show is brought to you by Manscaped.
Hey! Here we go.
Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Go to manscaped.com. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code AMERICA. Mike Trout's autographed rookie card sold for $900,000, a record which was the highest price for a modern-day baseball card.
Good for Mike Trout. He's like the best baseball player on earth. I didn't know he existed before last year. Have done a pretty bad job of marketing that guy. He's a pretty handsome guy, I guess. He hits the ball very far. He's a great baseball player. $900,000 rookie card. I like it. I like when people just dump massive amounts of money into things that they can hang up in their office. Jim Irsay used to do it with all the Beatles instruments. The fact that people are buying $900,000 rookie cards, I like that move. If you got money to waste, why not waste it on a rookie card that a lot of people don't even know the guy exists, but he could potentially be the best baseball player to ever play.
Yeah, for sure. Very, very good. He's going to get like a $450 million contract.
Love that. Maybe he'll buy it back from said guy.
And the South Korean soccer team has been fined for using the sex dolls in place of fans in the empty stadium. FC Seoul was fined 100 million won, which is equivalent of $81,000 in U.S. currency.
Listen, they said if you're going to put dolls in there, make sure they cheer and not moan. And that is really the first mistake that the KBO has made, I think, in this entire thing. It kept everybody safe. Hour one wrapping up on radio. Mark Cuban joins us in hour two. We'll be back on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show. All right, here we go. Let's get to... hey, that's a pretty little interesting stat there, though, that they got fined $81,000 for having sex dolls in a crowd.
Yeah.
Well, the person that's putting it together was like, well, we want to make it look like you're screaming, so we got to get dolls with their mouths open.
Smart.
Largest fine in the history of the league.
What's that?
Largest fine in the history of the league.
Can't be putting fuck dolls out there in the crowd, okay? They're trying to hit baseballs. Can't be doing it. But they did all look as if they were yelling. None of them looked very happy, but they did all look as if they were yelling the same word. Okay, they all look like they were yelling the same word in the crowd, which maybe they're like, hey, this is a chant that they're making.
Yes.
We're trying to make this as realistic as possible, as uniform as possible. Bring in the sex dolls who are all yelling. Oh, does the team start with an O? That's what what I'm saying. If they're finding me 81 grand, I'm like, yo, we got white stripes out here screaming it. You just can't hear them because they're kind of being quieted right now.
Would the fine been this bad if they weren't televised on like United States?
I would assume that we made this a much bigger thing than the South Korean Baseball League would have put together. But it is. I mean, it's the internet, right? That's probably the internet.
Yeah.
A video ran, the internet caught it, was like, somebody on the internet was like, wait a minute, I just saw Dave last night, and Lil Dicky had one of those things bent over on the couch, and also on Curb Your Enthusiasm, I saw one of those. That's a sex doll. And then they zoomed in on a picture. Like, do they have a bunch of sex dolls up there? And then all of a sudden that gets going, and then bing, the internet does its thing, and now all of a sudden $81,000 comes out of the pocket of the person that decided to put a fuck toy on.
I'm looking up how much sex doll cost. I think the fine itself is what it came down to.
Jay just muted Zito mid
Cut him
sentence
off.
right there.
Cut him off. big
That is a
time.
savage move.
One missed. Did you guys hear everything?
No, we literally couldn't hear most of what you said there. What were you going to say?
I just looked up how much a sex doll costs, and basically the fine is how much like it would cost to fill a stadium of them. So
A nice one, yeah.
Oh, you had to look up how much it was, Zeke?
yeah.
Wait, good little lead-in sentence there. Yeah, kind of cover your back there. You could have just asked Connor. Sure, he's got a few of them.
Yeah, I know how much a sex doll is. It's like $2,000. If you want a really good one, though, it's like, I don't know, $3,500.
Yeah.
$2,000 you're paying for a sex doll?
Oh, yeah.
A BBW chubby one is $1,599.
Hey, this isn't the 90s basketball of sex dolls here, okay? The game has changed.
Jesus. I think the pub probably looks like the crowd at that KBO. If I had to guess. If you were to open up the closet of the pub where these guys live, I would assume you got a bunch of fans of whatever Korean baseball team that they had in there. I would assume they just come popping out. Oh, good to see you.
Rock door.
Dustin in Oklahoma, what's going on out there, pal?
Dusty. He's called 8 straight days. Just give him a sec.
Dustin.
Dusty, come on, Dusty. This is your time, Dusty.
Dustin, there we are. Okay, how's it going, pal? You sound like a guy that was on a Zoom call with the press conference for Aaron Rodgers, just pushing your buttons and kind of finger fucking things, but can't wait to talk to you right now.
Yeah, sorry, my microphone cut out a little bit. How's the Bo Jackson of punting doing on this Monday morning?
Not too shabby. I got a good pass set in with Matt Light. He thought I was playing defense when I was clearly in a pass set, but things could be better. We got Mark Cuban joining us in about 32 minutes. Yeah. Can't wait for that conversation. Dusty, what do you want to talk about?
Oh, well, I got a question for you, but first I want to let you know, I heard you talking on the AJ and, with AJ Hawk on Friday. You were talking about how you hadn't considered the possibility of having a girl.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like you're hoping for a boy.
Go on.
All right. Well, I used to have a coworker that I was talking to on a lunch break one time. We were talking about our kids, and I guess him and his wife had to go see a fertility specialist.
Mm-hmm.
And while they saw the fertility specialist, I guess he found out from the fertility specialist that a woman's pH balance in her body actually plays a major variable in whether or not you have a boy or a girl.
So water.
pH balance. You want the water that's pH plus 7, which is alkaline levels, high alkaline levels, obviously. So you're saying I should be...
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I believe you.
I didn't remember if it was higher or lower, but I just wanted to let you know you can go see a fertility specialist. You could get your fiance on a particular diet.
Well,
increase your chances
you
there.
can be the one that tells her that. I will not go into that conversation. But if there's a certain water that's going to up the chances of me getting a little boy out there, I think I will start, maybe substituting drinks of hers, And by the way, she probably wants a boy as well, if I had to guess, because she knows she's the favorite if it's a boy. Yeah. If it's a little girl, I'm the favorite. So she's probably trying to rig this game anyways. Need high pH water. Good morning, beautiful people. It is Thursday, May 21st. Welcome to the second hour of the Pat McAfee Show here. Joining us in 30 minutes, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, the shark of all sharks in the Shark Tank, a man from Pittsburgh, then Indiana. At one point when he was 16, he was driving to Cleveland, buying newspapers to sell them in Pittsburgh because the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette went on strike. A man who's been a businessman from the beginning. Now he's worth billions and billions of dollars. Mark Cuban joins us in 30 minutes. Yeah. Right now, join us, all the boys. At Nick Moraldo's here, at Tone Diggs is here, Ty Schmidt's here, Jason McAfee's here, Viva Lazito's here, Evan Foxy's here, and graduate of college, Boston Connor. You gotta lean back. Can't see your hat. Can't see your hat. Do we not think those are the dumbest hats of all time, by the way?
They should evolutionize that.
They should have, just like the NBA has evolutionized since the 90s, the graduate cap should evolutionize as well.
I like them.
Do you really?
Yeah, why don't you guys like them?
It looks like you're like representing the Whig Party or something like that. Like it just looks like such an olden, just an old. Now, granted, I've only worn mine one time. I didn't graduate college, so it's not that big of a deal. But I think the tradition of graduation with that thing, I think it should change just a little bit.
Yeah, that's where the accent came from.
You also look at what you're paying for that thing. Like if you do walk in college, I mean, you're paying $50-$60 for that cap.
Right there, that cap is $60.
Oh yeah.
They're still after
For the whole outfit.
A man who is working today on Thursday who is making no dollars. Emmett McMahon, intern Emmett. How are you doing, Emmett? How are the minutes from the first hour? Are you excited to deliver them here in about an hour?
Yeah, excited to deliver the minutes. Kind of short minutes for the first hour.
Oh, so he slacks when
There
he's not
wasn't a lot of
getting
good
paid.
stuff. Is it because you're not getting paid for today? Because you're only assigned Monday, Wednesday, Friday? But since you're skipping your classes, now you're coming in on Thursdays?
I just don't really want to mess up before Mark Cuban comes on.
Smart, because there's probably going to be a lot from Mark. Look at you game planning right now.
Look at that.
Hey, Emmett, that's why you're smarter than somebody that graduated college already. That's why you got Emmett's minutes and there's nothing else going on in the back. That's why you are here in our freshest employee as opposed to our last guy that was a freshest employee. He was the worst. That guy was the worst.
You're talking about me.
Yeah. That was a shame that just happened. Right there. Man, this sucks. You did boo him in the first hour rather loud. A lot of big things happening in the sports world. Last night, Nascar, who won the weekend with 6.3 million people watching their race on Sunday. That was more than the Last Dance series finale got. That was more than the golf got. It was more than everything else. And I would assume last night's ratings also massive. NASCAR without fans, dare I say it, maybe even better. Now, the fans, I understand going to a race is a great time. You go in the infield, you go in the parking lot. I went down to Kentucky and did a NASCAR race. I think it's Kentucky Motor Speedway, I believe. And the party is just electric. I mean, tailgates at NASCAR is next level. You're expected to go and have a good time. Now, I understand that there's those race enthusiasts who have the ear things in so they can hear what everybody's doing and they can chime into the pit lane for different people and their coaches and stuff like that. But a majority of people at races are there to see cars go fast, hope that their guy wins, and get incredibly inebriated. And I want to let you know, I am very much not against that type of lifestyle. But I think NASCAR is a sport that the fans being there or not being there does not matter. And that kind of sucks for the fans to say that when it comes to the quality of television, you don't matter. I would assume some places, like for instance, the Indy 500, there's 500,000 people in Indianapolis. Whenever they're driving down the back straightaway and it's entire packed, there's a lot of pageantry to that. But if they changed the way that was shot and they were just shooting the cars, you didn't know people were there, I'm not 100% sure as a spectator at home how much it would change. And that's what I'm realizing with NASCAR. These races are electric. People are loving it. There's a lot of action. There's things that are happening. There's middle fingers flying. There's fights potentially popping off. There's drama. I think NASCAR, at the end of this whole thing, has had a big come up through this quarantine COVID-19. And I'm actually looking forward to the next race here on Sunday because if history has taught us anything about how these golf matchups go, there's a chance that this Tiger, Peyton, Phil, Tom is quite a dud until like the last 5 holes. NASCAR happening is good news. I think this is good for NASCAR, and I've never been a NASCAR fan, never been a NASCAR guy, ever. And I think I'm enjoying these races a lot more than I could have ever imagined. I assume there's a lot of humans feeling that exact same way.
Well, yeah, the cars provide the noise, and you can barely hear the fans even when they are there. And then when the drivers, it's not like they're trying any less because they aren't getting fan crowd motivation because they can't hear the fans at any times. And then that's about it.
Yeah, and I think, by the way, the car's going. Hey, go get yourself. I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it. I don't know who the hell's calling them. I enjoy their action too.
Jeff Gordon and someone else, but Jeff Gordon's all that really matters.
Yeah, I just, as somebody who is not a big NASCAR fan, I've appreciated NASCAR here for the last week and a half. Also, UFC. I like watching the human cockfighters get in and beat the hell out of each other. Soccer, I can't really get into without the fans. I need the fans doing their little song and dance, throwing flares on the field and everything like that. That's why the Korean baseball organization put in sex dolls, because they knew that the fans, if they look like they were screaming something, is better than having no fans not screaming anything. Correct. AFL is back June 10th in America. That's all we know. Aussie rules football, June 10th in America, June 11th in Australia. Let's get to it. But NASCAR's been getting me through some nights. NASCAR really has been. And
Just a nice night race.
it was awesome. You know, there was a delay, I think, because the weather or whatever. And can't be getting on a slippy track.
Nah, it was sloppy in Darlington, too.
Yeah, you can't be getting slippy on the track out there. Got to delay it. I don't understand the stages. I don't fully get the rules of NASCAR. I don't know how KY failed an inspection on Sunday and had to drop to the back of the pack whenever he qualified at 4. Was he taking PEDs? Was his car housing steroids? Is that why he failed the inspection?
Yes.
That's what happened?
Well, it's like the radiators and the downforce, and you can only have so much of something and another.
Oh, really?
Well said.
Is that now? There are going to be a lot of people that are going to be in the comment section who are saying whether you're 100% right or you were close to being right or you were 100% wrong. Which one do you think?
Well, I was definitely 100% wrong about the radiator.
Okay, because there is a radiator in there though. So you're.
But it does
right.
have to do with how like you're only allowed so much of different things as far as like the air drag is concerned, and with the engine and the downforce and the wedge and stuff.
You know what I watched last night too? You did great. You did great. The modern cars, by the way, they've changed, and I know that because I watched Jay Leno's Garage last night on CNBC. I got into a couple runs there. I mean, that's a good show too.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe NASCAR has got me back into my. I've always enjoyed cars. I've bought a lot of cars. I have a lot of cars. I've wasted a lot of money in cars. I mean, that is something that if I could go back to younger me, I would have said, don't buy as many cars as you have bought. But I like cars. But now NASCAR kind of got me in Jay Leno's Car Garage. Kyle Petty, is that that's Richard Petty and Kyle Petty, right? Those are two Pettys that race. They had him drive one of his cars from like way back in the day. It had this big ass fin on it. It was an actual car that they just souped up the engine. It was going 220 miles an hour back in the day, I guess. They had no roll cage, nothing like that. That was back whenever the moonshiners were taking off and damn near killing themselves every single week. That was, I mean, I've been in a big car kick. Probably going to buy a new car here by the end of the week, and we really got to get that thing done. I just think I want a NASCAR.
Like an actual NASCAR?
Yeah. I just want to drive to work in a NASCAR.
Strap in every day?
Yeah, the Shelby. I mean, I have a Shelby. It has like 560 horsepower or something like that. And in Jay Leno's Car Garage last night, Jamie Foxx was on. They had a Hellcat, and they were drifting it and taking it through stuff. And I actually am pretty good at that. I can actually get the Shelby to drift a little bit. I used to be able to power slide around stuff. And then one day you just get a little bit too confident in the driveway and wrap that thing around a tree. So the Shelby has not been on the road as much as it was in the past. But I think I'm just going to buy a NASCAR. How
much are those? Aren't those like $1 million? Well over $1 million bucks?
I have no idea. I'm sure there's some things we can cut out. Maybe one of them radiators that Diggs was talking about with the updraft. Cut that out. Maybe cut some prices, and then I can get in there and do it. Becoming a big NASCAR guy, though. I'm enjoying it. When other sports come back and there's other things to do, will I stick with my NASCAR fanhood? Not sure, but I'm in it right now, so let's enjoy the run. Let's just enjoy the run for the time being.
I'm just waiting for the fisticuffs to come out on pit road.
Well, they can't. They literally can't.
Why
Social
not?
distancing. He can't be fighting each other.
I know. That's what I said.
Put your mask on.
That's what I mean. When that comes back, that's how we know that NASCAR is officially back.
Could you imagine just squaring up with somebody? Put your mask on. You know the rules. Come on. Yeah, I hate you, but I ain't getting the Rona, pal. Okay? Put the mask on. Touch gloves. All right, let's get to it. That's what it would be like, and I'm pumped for it. KY is going to be the guy in the middle of it stirring the pot. Kyle Busch driving the M&Ms.
Smoke still racing?
Smoke is not still racing.
It was his birthday the other day. A lot of people in the comment section were like, happy birthday, Tony Stewart. And then, obviously, immediately after that came.
Yes, there was a lot of those.
The other side of it.
Well, that got, not saying it. Let's go to Clayton and Cleveland. Let's change the conversation. Clayton and Cleveland, we don't know enough about it. Clayton and Cleveland, what's up?
Nothing, man. How are you?
Not too shabby, pal. Feeling pretty good. What do you want to talk about?
I just want to mention that the group of scientists at NASA that found the parallel universe right next to ours, where time runs backwards.
Yeah, so Clayton, good call. Connor brought this story in yesterday, wanted us to talk about it on the show. And the way this office works is Very different to a lot of shows. Other shows I've gotten a chance to learn from Get Up, they have a production meeting like 2 hours before the show. They had a pre-production meeting before that without the talent. That's like 2 hours before that. So like 4 a.m., the production, the producers, executive producers, they have a meeting on what they think the layout is. Then at 6 a.m., there's an entire meeting about how we think this is something we should talk about. This is the lead off. Ultimately, Greeny's like, yeah, though, no. Then he asks you what your take is, and then you go around the room, you form a take. You have a stat person next to you, Hembo, for instance, that says, hey, what you just said here, this helps here. They put the whole show together. Our show's not like that. Our show is people roll in 2 hours to an hour and a half before the show, turn on all the other shows, see what everybody else with all those stats have, what they're deciding is the right conversation to be talked about. We openly talk about whether or not we should be talking about what they're talking about, or we hate it. That's a big thing. Like, I hate this conversation. Everybody's doing it, though. Every single channel's doing it. Oh, we hate it. We're not going to do it. Or, yeah, that's smart. We should do that. And then just ideas start flying from people that have seen things on the internet. Like, oh, did you see TJ Watt, JJ Watt, and Derek Watt debut tag last night? It's like, yeah, how was it? Like, I only could watch a little bit. Okay, so we're not going to talk about that. All right, so we'll move on. Congrats to them, by the way, getting a show. 3 NFL players are hosting a game show. I'm happy for them getting that gig. People are saying, unfortunately, probably not going to survive to season 2, but hopefully it can only get better from here. I didn't see it. I can't judge it, but I am happy for the Watts getting a show. I like the Watts threesome there. I enjoy them as characters. And then Connor was like, NASA scientists, like just literally out of nowhere, NASA scientists in Antarctica found that there's a universe where time goes backwards. And I was like, what does that mean? And Connor goes, time goes backwards. They put a balloon in the sky. Particles went north instead of going south.
Anita.
Which then makes Anita, which is the Antarctica nautical. No.
Oh, I got it right here.
There's something. They have an entire thing. Connor does this entire pitch to us, and he made it more confusing than what this guy just said. I was like, well, how's time go backwards? He goes, it goes backwards. Particles are supposed to go this way. They go that way. That's just what it is. I was like, well, how's time go backwards? Do you start, is it like a Benjamin Button? Do you start as a 50-year-old, a 70-year-old, an 80-year-old, and then you go down? Do you get, like, how does it time go backwards? And Connor goes, particles go the opposite direction.
Yes.
And then I told him last night, learn about this a little bit more. There was 50-some thousand tweets about this parallel universe last night. It was like the number 3 trending topic at one point. So I added Connor again. I said, learn a little bit more about this. Let's talk about it tomorrow. What did you learn last night, Connor? Wearing your graduate cap. You got your thinking cap on. What did you learn about this parallel universe that can make it maybe make sense to some people who have never heard of this before?
So cosmic rays come from space into the Earth's atmosphere every single day. Okay. Anita, the instrument that NASA uses, is a balloon-like instrument that is much higher off the ground because you can't detect cosmic rays coming through the atmosphere because they're so tiny. Okay. The cosmic rays, which are basically like different types of particles, so hydrogen nuclei, helium nuclei, those type of elements that are coming from space that come to the Earth.
Bring it home. Here we go.
Those particles, which only come from the space to the ground, were in fact coming out of the Earth, going towards space, which is impossible in the signs of a parallel universe.
Okay.
So is there another Zeta over there?
Yeah, I think so. But that one...
Well, actually, no, it would be Otis.
Because it's backwards.
So if I take him out, I become stronger.
Roanoke just told you
exactly
that Otis is actually who it is.
Thank you, Tap.
I'm Tap, by the way. I'm out here.
Good luck taking that Zito out. He's probably jacked.
Yeah, if it goes backwards. But the
He's a baby now.
UFOs, 3 weeks ago? Now we got parallel universes. The world's been shut down. I sent this tweet out. Like, this is a literal question. What the fornicator's going on? What is going on? I don't know anything about this parallel universe. I tried to read into it, and by the way, Connor, great attempt there. It still is going to make no sense to people that don't understand it, and I don't think you fully understand it. You're parroting what you read, which I respect and appreciate, but none of it makes sense to me. But the fact that NASA, right? What are you, an astronaut? Like that. These are the smartest people of all time. Like, hey, there's a potential parallel universe where everything goes backwards. And everybody's like, oh, that's interesting. 50,000 tweets. And then what? Tomorrow we'll never talk about it again. 2 weeks ago, Pentagon released videos of UFOs. Said, yeah, these are real. No follow up of like, hey, who's flying inside? Do we know these people? Do we have this? Have we ever encountered them? Nothing like that. But people just moved on because Carol Baskin still killed her ex-husband or whatever. It's just we are living in an insane time. And I can't wait for when I'm a grandpa or whenever I'm a dad telling my kids about, you want to learn 2020, pal? You know these UFOs that you guys just hang out with and stuff like that, and you know this parallel universe that you guys can just whoop, whoop, whoop into. We didn't even know that existed. So think about our brains whenever that information was dropped on us out of nowhere. It's like the same information whenever this Wi-Fi works. I have no idea how it works. It Bluetooths like the sun into the earth. I have no clue how it works. But this type of stuff that is unfolding in the middle of this quarantina is just madness. And I'm too dumb to understand any of it. But boy, I cannot wait to tell the story later. I cannot wait to tell the story in like 15, 20 years about it.
Has it said anywhere in the parallel universe stuff how that affects our lives or how it affects us on a day-to-day basis? Because until we figure that out, who gives a rat's
Bingo.
ass?
Same with the aliens. Until they're hovering over my house, don't care.
Yeah, that's the thing. Once the door is open to this parallel universe.
They could be.
Yeah, but they're not.
How do you know?
No, they haven't.
I haven't seen them.
They haven't attacked
Oh, okay. Okay. You saw that bread in your backyard.
Yeah. Oh.
Seeing is believing.
And believing is seeing.
I believe in
sometimes you have to have faith and just take the step without seeing the rest of the staircase.
What I'm saying is they're not affecting my life. Until they start affecting my life.
How do you know that?
How do you know? Has your internet slowed down?
They might be
No, I
steering
got
things
faster
into
than
and
that.
out of your life that you have no control or vision of.
You have no idea. You have no idea.
Okay.
And by the way, what if it's like, what if an alien's coming in and just bukkaking you every night? You don't even know. They clean it up. They hit you with the Men in Black thing. You don't
that's
even know about it.
Don't
That's
care
why
'cause
your
it's not
beard's coming
affecting
in
me.
so strong. That's why your beard's coming in so strong.
then I
It's an
think-
alien bukkake happening every single night. And then they hit you with the Men in Black blue thing, and you just move on with your life. Your skin does look much better.
Thank you.
I know. Your skin looks better. You look healthy.
you.
What if that's what the aliens are doing? You don't even know. You have no idea.
I'm okay if I don't know.
Alien jizz. Great
I don't think any of us
skincare.
know, by the way. You're okay with it? I guess I'm okay with it because I don't fully understand. But the world's okay with it, and that's 2020. The craziest news out of all of this would be if the Detroit Lions end up winning the
Yeah, it
Super
would.
Bowl.
Oh my! Uncalled.
And the
for.
number 2 story would be Mark Cuban came on the Pat McAfee show. That is in 13 minutes. We have to get to a radio break here because we're going to sneak in another one before him because we don't know how long we have with him. Going to try to push him into overtime.
Oh, yeah.
Probably shouldn't have said that because I'm going to get an email from his people that are probably watching this show saying, hey, he's got it hard out at said time here. I won't open email. They will think I didn't read it. We're in a good spot. Pumped to talk to Mark Cuban about all this because he's potentially president one day. I want to know if he's going to release the alien files.
Yes.
Probably should ask about the NBA first because we're a sports show and there's a lot happening.
But
But we'll get to
alien files.
17 minutes after the hour. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. I have no clue why. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here on the YouTube. Every once in a while, we like to dive deep into the most beautiful place on the internet, the YouTube comment section, for some YouTube questions.
YouTube question.
Damn right. What do we got, Zeet?
First one's an update. The second one's a question. Do you want the update first?
Sure.
Aaron Rodgers conversation. How's it going?
I did send a "How are you" last night. So for those that don't know, I was in DMs with Aaron Rodgers, which is not normal, by the way. He and I have always had a friendship from afar. In DMs, he says, "It's a shame we haven't texted each other. That's a real problem." And I responded, "Probably your fault, if I had to guess." He said, "Probably is." I said, "That's great accountability." Then numbers were exchanged, and now what do? I sat on it for a day or two. Then I sent a GIF of me coming up an escalator with this golf championship belt around my waist and the boys flanking me as my first message. Okay? I said, this is something that he will understand that it's my number. So then 2 days later, I get a hi, Pat. So then I had to sit on that for at least a day. I sat on it for 4 days. Last night, give a, "How are you doing, pal?" Question mark. Send.
Smart.
Slow play, this whole thing.
Can't look too eager.
Can't look too eager. Also, I don't want to rush into this conversation.
No.
I don't know where it's heading. And he knows that I'm on a microphone every single day and I got no filter. Maybe I don't want him to tell me things. Okay, I don't want to be like Rob Domofsky, who goes on there and is speaking for Aaron Rodgers, and then Brady Papinga comes out of his Mormon top rope and says, stop doing that. So I'm slow playing this thing. I'm not doing it. And I don't know if he's going to answer. We'll see in a couple days.
You're basically building that foundation. Like, you don't build a house right away. You got to build that whole floor.
This isn't built on sand, okay? Exactly. This is built on marble, okay? This slow, gif hello, hi, how are you? This doesn't happen anymore. Everybody wants instant gratification conversations, okay? On these sex apps that you guys are on, everybody wants to get right to it. What's the action? Okay, me and Aaron, we're taking this old school. We're handwriting letters at this point. We're getting a pigeon carrier to go over there, and that's kind of the 2-3 day wait. I'd assume I get a response from him maybe next week.
Is the end goal?
How do you think he's doing, by the way? We'll find out next week, I guess.
I think he's doing good.
I said, how are you doing, pal? What's that?
Is the end goal of the Derby?
To get invited?
Yeah.
I thought he was going to text me right there. I thought he was like potentially watching. I was like,
yes, you're invited.
I know. The angle is to get invited to the Derby. That is not an angle, by the way. That is a hope to be a part of that crew. Yeah. Because the stories are going to come out and be legendary.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm a pretty good guest to have in that group.
He knows that.
He knows that. A lot of the people in that group know that.
Yeah.
I think the other groups that they're next to know that.
You and Tom.
There's a lot of people that are like, hey, Aaron, let's get him on the pavilion or something in that big ass hat or whatever he's going to rock. Probably jorts if I had
Good
to
outfit.
Good outfit. I'm going to have a good outfit in there. And guess what? I'm going to hammer those mint juleps.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm going to puke them all up because they taste like grumpy.
Not good.
Then I'll chug a beer. What? Then some vitamins.
What? With all the uncertainty in the world, feeling safe at home has never been more important. That's why I want to talk to you about Simply Safe Home Security. They're longtime friends of the Pat McAfee Show, and for good reason.
Why is that?
They prevent alien bukkake.
They do. They'll catch it on
They
film.
will. Simply Safe has made it easy to finally get comprehensive protection for your home. There's no technician or salesperson that needs to come and disrupt your house. You don't need to pay any outrageous monthly fees or sign a 2-year contract. You just order online, set it up yourself in under an hour, and your home is protected 24/7 with emergency dispatch for break-ins, fire, and more. All just for 50 cents a day.
Wow.
And we're not the only fans of Simply Safe. U.S. News and World Report named Simply Safe Best Overall Home Security of 2020. Right now, when you head to simplysafe.com/Pat, our listeners will get free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. That's simplysafe.com/Pat to make sure they know that our show sent you from Simply Safe, and all of us here wishing you safety and good health.
Shout out to Simply Safe. Very easy to set up. Captures everything. If you happen to be in a place where you can potentially make some magic happen, HD cameras capturing everything. It is absolutely beautiful. Somebody just sent me a link to racecars.com that if I'd like to buy a race car. Thing about Indianapolis, though, is these potholes are moats. So I don't know how many race cars I can really get around in, but if I need to, I'll get from my house to down here, and I'll go up to 6th gear if I have to. I'll float some gears down there.
It's not a real website.
It's not a real website. Yeah, it seems like the guy who created the website, who was used to have a junkyard with race cars in it, tweeted us that we should go there.
Junkyard Dog.
No, what's that song? Junkyard Dog. There's a song, isn't there?
Elvis?
I don't know. We got Mark Cuban in 6 minutes, though, so we're trying to figure out how to pass the time, to be 100% honest with you.
Want me to do an ad read?
Yeah. No, not yet. We can't do back-to-back ad reads. Let's go to
Adonijah has a
Bad
good
Leroy
question.
Brown.
Let's go to baddest man in the whole damn town.
Meaner than a
Junkyard Dog. There it is. Let's go to Adonijah. Adonijah. What's going on, Adonijah?
Hey, it's Adonijah.
Adonijah.
You should see what Connor typed in here. He typed in
Asia.
Adon AJ.
I was wrong.
Yeah. By the way, I wouldn't have got it right either.
Hand up.
What do you want to talk about, Adonijah?
Hey, Pat, no, I just had a question for you. So I don't know if you saw it. He typed out from H-Town, and you know how it is over here with Billy O. Stooge?
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to know if you were the owner of the Houston Texans and you had to appoint one of your guys in the studio to be a GM/head coach, who would you choose?
Great question. I'm not 100% sure what his name is. If I was running the Houston Texans right now, which would be a lot of fun, by the way, which I'm going to talk to Mark Cuban about, like owning a team has to be a blast. You get to set up the arena. You're Jackie Moon. You're Jackie Moon. That is dream job, right? Owning a team that you can do whatever you want. By the way, you can stink and still own the team. People have been doing it. The Nuttings or the Pittsburgh Pirates ownership have been doing it for years, and they just get to have a good time. If I was running the Houston Texans, the person that would be the general manager in here would be Zito. That absolutely would be Zito. Just let him, a Zito production, go ahead and piece this whole thing together. Emmett would be taking the minutes, and I would override everything like Jerry Jones does.
He's a big trench guy. He knows that's where you win games.
Bingo. 5 minutes until Mark Cuban calls. So for radio, we're going to go to a break. YouTube will stick around, take a couple more calls, maybe YouTube questions. Ladies and gentlemen, the most successful guest we've ever had in our entire life is joining us on the other side of this. Get focused. Don't mess it up. Ask the right questions, get the right answers. Get quoted on ESPN and CNN potentially. Let's go. Big moment on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Thursday, May 21st. Mark Cuban is on the other side. Let's have a Thursday.
Yeah!
I would 1,000% overstep my boundaries as the owner, though. Just what Jerry Jones has done this entire time, I would do.
Got all your money in the team.
You would be the GM.
Yeah. I mean, we'd have Zito as GM just so he can go around and maybe get a little bit better contacts when he was general manager of the Houston Texans. I'd also like to see him at the combine doing interviews with people. I mean, that is something.
Scapegoat.
That's what I'm saying. And it's also Zito's fault if something happens. Zito's cool with it. We'll just move Zito into the cabinet up here in the office whenever he's eventually fired publicly because it's all his fault. I mean, it's just, we very much understand what it is.
Zito's a master fleecer, too. I mean, he will fleece some teams for some picks, some players.
Well, and the players are not going to get
Player
along.
contracts would be at an all-time low.
He's Jerry Krause. Zito is Jerry Krause. He does it with the cable bill. He does it with apartments. He does it with food orders. He does it with everything. If there is a deal to be had and an angle to be taken to get something, Zito will do it, and that's why you have him as your GM if you're the Houston
I
Texans.
would have got Pippen for cheaper.
It has come out, by the way, that Pippen is pissed about this whole thing.
Oh, for sure.
Surprisingly.
Well, Horace Grant came out and said that if he was Pippen, he'd be pissed as well because of that clip making it in there where he refused to go onto the court, even though that wasn't a part of the Michael Jordan year, and it didn't matter because Tony Kukoc made it, which is, by the way, 100% accurate.
Yeah.
If you look back on it, if you're Pippen, there was no reason to put that in there. In the grand scheme of the story, it did not matter.
At all.
We enjoyed it, though.
We enjoyed it because we know Pippen. Pippen ain't easy. Okay, Pippen ain't happy either, from what we've been told. He doesn't love it. He probably sat down and did hours and hours of interviews there.
Yeah.
You know, Pippen thought he was probably going to be a big part of it. Turns out, sounds like he is pissed about the portrayal of Scottie Pippen the entire thing. I don't think Scottie should be that upset. Other than that one scene, I don't think Pippen lost at all. I think Pippen won in that whole thing. The Miller Lights in the training room talking about how fourth quarter, I'm just thinking about cold beer. That whole thing. Him being underpaid, by the way, I think made people maybe even feel even worse for Pippen.
Yeah.
Seeing how much Pippen meant to the Bulls, I think was good. Other than that one scene, I thought Pippen came out pretty good, but I could see how if you're Scottie Pippen, that was probably the worst decision of your life. You hated it. To see that thing get exploited out there, you're probably not happy about it.
Then what Michael said that Scotty was being selfish, yeah.
Choosing not to get surgery.
Mm-hmm.
But Scotty knows that was not a bad look on Scotty. That was more of a bad. The world was like Jordan saying that whenever he was making $30 million and Scotty was making a bag of balls or something.
And I'm assuming he knows that that's the way Jordan felt by this point in time too.
I don't know,
because I think they were still like fairly tight. You know, you'd always see pictures of them like sitting courtside together, laughing and giggling and stuff. So
I thought Scottie Pippen and us were a lot tighter than we were, by the way. I thought we were good friends. We shotgun a beer together.
So did I.
Hasn't come on show, has he?
Took a shot with him after the round.
Has anybody asked? I haven't asked. Has anybody asked him to come on show? No.
Zito did it.
Zito, you asked Scottie Pippen, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
What
Rodman. I tried to get Rodman. He left me on red.
Oh, he saw it.
Yeah.
That's the worst, by the way. I'm not getting into this right now, but
I respect it, though.
I have 4 people in my Twitter inbox right now that I can't open the message because I don't know what the answer is supposed to be, and I don't have the time to figure it out and craft it out, and it might be a request to do something. I can't do it. And if I open the message even to read it, they're going to see that I opened it, and if I don't answer, I can't do it. And that's why you never have read receipts on. And there's a guy in this office that has his read receipts on, and he's an absolute stooge and an idiot for it, and it's going to come back and bite him in the ass because Twitter's already doing it to me right now. It's inevitably going to happen to dumb dumbass Foxy. That's
Well,
what you said.
I thought you said we weren't going to get into this. I mean, Pat, everyone knows you have your phone. Everyone knows you're going to see that message.
No, I don't
here or
check my
there.
DMs. I don't check my DMs.
See,
there's an out
Boom.
right there.
That works.
Yes.
I mean, does
Plausible
that work?
deniability right there. They could just think that I don't look at my DMs. And the people that send the DMs that are making a request to me, I think, in there, they're not watching the show either. So they have no idea. So whenever I answer them, eventually I'll say, just now seeing this, I'm so sorry. Sorry. So sorry.
Hey, no problem.
But the event probably would have passed that they would potentially wanted me to be at.
It's too bad.
So I feel like a bad guy.
No, because that's part of the apology.
Hey, here we go. Here we go, boys. Tighten up.
Let's go.
Tighten up, boys.
Here we go.
All right. What's going on, Zeke?
First try was
0 for 1.
Oh, no.
we're 0 for 1 right now.
Oh.
Still.
Does someone want to text me the correct just to make sure?
Yeah, I'll send it to you right now.
Just in case I didn't mess that up.
Yeah, that seems like a potential thought. And, oh, my God, if we fuck this up. Can't. By the way, this is the first time we've ever marketed an interview. Can't do it.
We got it. Come on.
Can't do it. I got to send him a message here. My only way of contact is a DM. Oh, shit.
I'm doing it one more time. All right.
Here you go, Z.
Oh, my God, Zeke. Oh, my. Hey, we are currently faced. Yeah, we got 10 seconds. We are currently.
Maybe he has the do not disturb 3 times, get through. Maybe that's what it is.
Currently trying to face
Bet he is.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here, Thursday, May 21st. Joining us now is one of the most accomplished Americans in the history of America. From Pittsburgh, went to IU because it was a top 10 business school and it was the most affordable. This guy's been running businesses since he was 12 years old. Now, he is the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. You see him on Shark Tank showcasing his business acumen. Our most accomplished guest ever, who is currently rewarding bad behavior because I misquoted him. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Cuban.
What up, big dog? How you doing, man?
I should have wore my Dallas Mavericks sleeveless. I feel kind of upset that I didn't do that. You look amazing.
I just rolled out of bed, man. So that's, it's quarantine time. It's my day off.
Well, I appreciate you joining us and making time for us. You're a legend, obviously. Let's get right to it. Okay, so there's a lot of stories coming out. The reason why you're on this show is because Shaq and Charles Barkley came out and said, hey, let's scrap this last season. There'll be a big asterisk, not worth it. You came out and said, and I was wrong, but you said, let's do it in a safe fashion. It feels as if all systems are go for an optimistic return for this thing, and it sounds like Orlando's going to be the home. What have been the conversations behind the scenes that have put us to this point where the NBA is definitely going to come back?
So first, I got to correct you. That's not why I did the show. I did a badass, dude. I love what.
Yeah! Let's go.
I don't care about what those guys said, but to answer your question, right? I don't know yet. So I'm not on that committee. So I just hear things like everybody do. But the conversations I've had with other owners is that we are getting closer, right? We've just got to get to the point where we have confidence that whatever we do will work. I mean, you're an athlete, man. Imagine, you know how guys think and feel about the whole thing. When you put their health at risk, you put their careers at risk. So we have to be really, really safe. And so we're working on all those angles. But I'm a big fan of the Hotel California approach. You put us in California, you check in, but you never leave until you. And so once we get that in, teams will go there. We'll set it up so it's safe. When the regular season's over, for those aren't in the playoffs, they go home. Then when you lose a playoff round, you go home until we're done.
Hey, and how big is it that LeBron James, Chris Paul, it seems like the stars of the league have said, like, hey, we want to do this, right? In baseball, you got a lot of the star players being like, we can't do this business-wise. This sounds like a bad deal. But in the NBA, a lot of the big stars are like, hey, we want to get back to this. We want to do this. And this would be something unlike ever before seen if it's like a March Madness style tournament. How big of a deal is that the stars of the league are on board?
Our guys are smart, man. They understand business. And see, the difference between the NBA and most other professional sports is our guys are mostly brands. You know them on social media. LeBron's got how many social media followers? Same with Chris Paul, Kevin Durant, Luka now, right, for the young stars, KP. They're huge on social media, and that's part of who they are. And so they have a lot stronger connections to fans and businesses and brands. And so they understand the business side of it as well as the athletic side. And that makes it a little bit easier for us than other sports.
You've come out and said on a couple different occasions that you feel like the NBA is the future. Now, granted, the NFL ratings were going down there for a little bit. NBA ratings were going up completely. Do you think it's because your players understand how to market and how to promote themselves, which inevitably promotes the league?
Yeah, I mean, no question. Now, look, ratings aren't the best guideline anymore because so many people have cut the cord, right? So you've got most of your younger fans who don't get cable, right? And that's a challenge for us, and the NFL has an advantage there. But nobody dominates social media like the NBA. And that's why I think we're really on the upswing for the reasons I mentioned. I mean, you got guys coming into the league like Luka and Zion who have millions of followers online, right? They already have that connection. Whereas, even Joe Burrows, right? It's like, you don't know him by sight. The number one pick, the number one quarterback coming out, right? You don't know him, and he doesn't have that presence that our athletes do, and that gives us a huge advantage.
There's been rumors that you've tried to buy teams in other sports. I'm from Pittsburgh, just like you. Shout out Mount Lebanon.
What part of Pittsburgh you from?
Plum
Borough, baby.
Yeah, let's go. You're 100% right. But I'm from Plum. Was a Pirate fan, kind of. But there's always been rumors that you have tried.
What's a Pirate fan? Always a Pirate fan, no matter how painful, or brutal.
Mark, they stink, and the ownership does not try to win. And there's always been rumors that you have tried to buy that team. Are those true? And would you ever venture into owning other teams?
Like right after I tried to after I bought the Mavs, I looked at the Pirates, and they just don't want to sell. And look, I get that, right? Up until the pandemic hit, they were crushing it financially. And like what I would tell people back home, I'm like, look, if I offered you a job where I paid you $25 million a year and you stood in the middle of Market Square or you stood in Point Park in downtown Pittsburgh and the whole city just yelled at you all day, every day, would you take that $25 million a year job?
I think so, yeah.
Comes down to. And so, look, at least we broke that non-playoff run, right? We got to the playoffs. They've gotten a little smarter about it. I'm not as down on them, for not spending the money that people want them to, because I think they're doing some smart things in development. They've got, some facilities in Puerto Rico and stuff. But look, I get frustrated like everybody. I want to win.
So would you want to ever buy another sports team? You said you were interested in potentially the Pirates, or does this have to be something that's emotionally...
Those days are gone, man. That's when, like, before I had kids. So the Pirates were like before I was married. That was different, right? And now I have kids. They're 10, 13, and 16. And, being gone, being involved for 82 games plus playoffs in the NBA, now it didn't seem like a lot before. Now it is a lot just because of the kids. Maybe after they're older and have, left the house, I'll look at it again, but not right now.
Okay, so we've all seen you on Shark Tank. You're the star of that show.
Friday night. Hey, baby.
You're damn right. I feel like I've watched every single episode, and watching your brain get showcased is something that you've mentioned before. You've said, hey, I feel like the American people have seen me at work. They trust my business acumen. Whenever you were pitched to be on Shark Tank, was your immediate thought like, okay, so I don't have to go out and find these companies anymore? These companies are just coming to me. This is the greatest show of all time.
No, it was the exact opposite. I'm like, okay. This show was bounced around. Like one day it's on Tuesday night, the next day it's on Friday nights, the next day it's a one-night replacement for Desperate Housewives on ABC. This is a business show. These guys are weak that are on this show, right? So I'm going to go on there as a guest, and I'm just going to crush them. The show's probably not going to last, and so I'm just going to raise hell. So I literally went on there as a guest shark for 3 episodes, the second season, just trying to raise hell and just mess with everybody. And then, we got lucky, and the show started to take off, and now – we just finished season 11, and hopefully we'll be back in August or September to start shooting season 12. But yeah, I didn't think it was ever going to last.
I've been in a few negotiations now because I'm a business owner here, and I've had to talk about a lot of things. And all of my knowledge, all of it comes from Shark Tank. So I appreciate that a lot. It's literally the depiction of the American dream. It is a beautiful show, and I can't thank you enough for that. Now, you have followed in similar footsteps now, And I'm not going to say you're the same person or anything like that, but there's been conversations about you potentially being president. You're on a show showcasing your business acumen, right? And now you're a guy that a lot of people trust. I mean, this entire office trusts you. Whenever Mark Cuban says something, we're like, okay, we know if Mark Cuban says it, it's probably going to be accurate. That presidential run is something that I assume you get asked about every single day. And with what your answer was for the Pirates, your kids are going to have to get older. Is that something you ever see yourself doing, though?
Maybe. It's not like my dream is to be president. It is not, man. Let me just tell you, I'd rather be playing hoops and just getting shots up and just chilling with the kids or my friends or whatever. But it's just such a cluster, right? It's just all messed up right now. And, especially now, it's just like here we are in the middle of this pandemic and we have to figure out who do we trust with our lives, right? What information do we believe? And you want that coming out of the White House. So on one hand, it's like, damn, we need something, and I think for the reason you mentioned, I think I can be that person, but I asked my family about it and they just voted it down. So it's not going to happen this time around. Even I always say I keep my doors open because I'm an entrepreneur, right? So I'll never say never, and that's true, but I just don't see it happening. Maybe 2024, when my kids are a little older, we'll see.
So right now you are involved in the committee that the government has assigned to reopen the sports world. And I saw you tweeting that if you didn't get your PPP and you're a small business, there's still $100 billion left. So you're kind of getting into the policy.
Oh, I'm hearing the yinzer come out. I hear that little yinzer.
Hey, go on down to the website. Okay, get up. But are you enjoying this time where your decisions are not only affecting your basketball team or your businesses, but your decisions, your input, your opinions are now directly affecting a lot of people's lives, and your Twitter and your tweets are affected. Are you enjoying that, or is that too much?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do it if I thought it was too much, man. I mean, I'm an American citizen. I want to help wherever I can, man, especially now when things are such a mess. Anytime I can help small businesses in particular, I'm going to do what I can. I'm an investor in 200-some businesses, and I'm helping them all I can. And, taking some of that knowledge, what I've learned on Shark Tank, and trying to help, you know what it's like. You're an entrepreneur, right? You know the strain, you know the stress. And now add all this to it and, waking up not knowing if you're even allowed to open, let alone being able to sell anything. And then when you are able to sell, you don't know if anybody's going to show up. So you don't know how many people you should put back on the payroll. You don't know which government programs make sense or don't make sense, all that stuff. And so, where I can help, I want to help.
Okay, so I feel like you have done a great job with your employees. You came out early and said you're going to pay all your arena employees. Zion was coming out saying he was going to do it. Everybody was helping. But it feels like you have really taken care of your employees. We try to do the exact same thing here. There's a lot of businesses, though. Yeah, thank you. All the boys actually all the boys are about to get a big raise, by the way. Pretty good news.
Yeah, boy.
That's what we're here for. But it feels like a lot of companies were not fiscally responsible with their money. They were running, their burn rate was too much. And then now you got 37 million people unemployed at this point. I mean, there's a lot of gloom and doom in a lot of Americans' minds coming out of this quarantine, this post-quarantine. What would your message be to them about the American business, the American spirit, and what could potentially happen to the economy afterwards?
You know what? I'm a capitalist through and through, but, for small businesses, any business, man, you got to be agile. Things are changing. You can't expect it's going to be the way it was. You've got to recognize that more people are going to be working from home. People are afraid to go into group situations. We're going to have to reinvent until we get a vaccine. Businesses like the Mavs are going to have to reinvent how we do business. Broadcasting games without fans. When we can have fans, how are we going to do it so it's safe and people have confidence? And then, on a bigger picture, with 37, 38 million people unemployed now, man, the government's got to do something, right? Historically, like in 2008, 2009, we did the trickle down thing and it worked. Not great, but it worked. Now we got to do the trickle up thing, right? You don't just all of a sudden say, just let, the American way, entrepreneurs start 38 million, create 38 million jobs that we're going to create over the next 3 years. Because that's never going to happen, right? The most jobs that have been created in the last 4 years is like 312,000 in a month. So you extrapolate that out, it's going to take forever. So I think we're going to have the government get involved. As much as that bothers me, it's the right thing to do. Creating jobs that do tracking and tracing and testing and, elderly care, helping out people who can't take care of of themselves and are, at risk of the virus. And so those are millions of jobs that we need to create as a government. So those two things together, the government help, reduce unemployment, and entrepreneurs doing their thing, coming up with new ways to create jobs, creating new opportunities, recognizing that business is going to change and creating great new companies that we never knew would exist. I mean, those two things together get us out of this mess.
Let's go! Hey, you need to do it in 4 years. I know your kids probably aren't going to be happy about it. You need to do it in 4 years. So let's talk about something you are directly involved with, and you mentioned it there about arenas and stadiums without fans. The Ohio State athletic director, Gene Smith, just came out and said for his 105,000-seat stadium, they figured out a way to put 22,000 to 50,000 people in it with guidelines that I assume that you and the committee have put in there. What are the guidelines? What are the steps? And can anybody be certain about anything at this point?
So first, no one can be certain about anything right now, man. That's the scary part, right? We don't know, no one. It's like this thing changes every day, and we learn something new every day. So you have to build that in. But in terms of how do you fit as the most amount of people, kind of the way we're looking at it, and this is all just planning and evaluating. It's not anything written in stone. People live in little quarantine groups, right? You live with your family or you've got your roommates. We're going to try to get those groups together and allow them to come into the arena together. And so once we can confirm that the McAfee family or the Cuban family, and there's 5 of them, or you might have 12 roommates living in a house, right? Those 12 people who are already quarantined together, once we can confirm those groups, then we can sit them as a group in the stadiums or arenas and then, create space, social distance around them. And then if the testing gets real good, and we're still unsure about the testing, and that's part of the problem. But then when the testing gets real good, then we can start saying, okay, the McAfee and the Cuban family, you guys are close. Why don't you let us quarantine you together? We'll pick you up on a bus, bring you to the game. And now we got 30 people that we have in a group, and we do social distancing around them. And then those groups, once we get more confident in the testing, we can put bigger and bigger groups. And then if the testing gets good enough, you can test at a game, and it's all going to be voluntary, right? And that's the thing I think people get afraid of. Nowhere, you can't force people to get tracked and traced. No, people aren't going to do that in this country. They got to volunteer and opt in. You can't force people to get tested because people are afraid that the government's going to keep that stuff, right? And so it's got to be something where it's voluntary, opt in. And once you allow that, then you can start growing the groups that go into the arenas and stadiums.
That committee you're on with other general managers, and I think Vince McMahon's on there, Dana White's on there, you're on there. Is that a conference? Are you guys Zooming, Microsoft Teams? How many alphas can be on one phone call and get something done?
It was interesting, me coming on and Dana coming on, and then you had like the get-alongs, the commissioners of all the different professional sports leagues that are politically correct, so it was interesting, but we've only had one call.
When was it? How long was the call?
It was right when all this went down, and they created the committee, whenever that was, and it was maybe a 30-minute call. That's it.
Who was guiding it? Who was running the call?
Trump was. The president was.
Have you had any conversation with the president since then?
No, not since then. But I give him credit, man. He assigned somebody in the White House to be my liaison, and so we go back and forth all the time. And it's a good dude that does it. I don't want to put him on blast because he'll get all kinds of crap in the White House. But we talk almost every day, either via email, text, or phone. And I give him my ideas, and they tell me while I'm wrong, but at least I keep on cranking them out. And at least they tell me.
Mark, the rumor that Disney World is the front runner for the NBA to come back, is there a reason why that is the front runner over, say, Vegas, or they even throughout the Bahamas or something like that?
It's a great reason. One, it's a good spot. 2, Disney is our biggest effing partner. Of course we're going to partner with them, right? ABC, ESPN, they're a partner, and we're going to do everything we can to take care of our partners.
And will that be, you said Hotel California, all guys will come in there. Their families will come or no? And you're only expecting this to be a couple weeks?
I mean, there's a capacity, the more people you add, the more risk you add as well. And then there's capacity issues. So I don't have an answer for you there.
Okay. AJ Hawk, who I host a show in the afternoon with, he wanted me to ask you a question. If you were Robert Kraft, Tom Brady goes up for free agency here. Would you have stepped in and made sure Tom Brady never leaves your franchise and goes elsewhere? Or is that something you got to keep?
Tom, it'd be between me and Tom, right? I'm sure they sat down and talked it out, right? As long as they had a conversation and you were straight up and honest, right? Because sometimes you know how players are, right? Every guy thinks they're 45 years old, and if I could just do something to get over this little knee issue, then I'll be back to running 4.340s again. And so if they talked it out and everybody was understood and they were honest about it, then whatever they came to was cool, right? With us, with Dirk knew he was kind of on the decline, and we knew it, but we wanted to send a message because there was no way for us to put a championship team around him. And it's not like in the NBA, you can just go and sign a championship team and say, sorry, Dirk, you'll be the 15th man, but we're signing all these dudes. No, I wanted to keep them, and I couldn't win a championship with them the way things were structured. So, we just got on the same page and got it right. And as long as Kraft and Brady did the same thing, you just got to live with the results.
As somebody who, I like the NBA, but I don't know the ins and outs enough to really know this answer. So this might be a dumb question, but now that we're getting into the super team era is how they're describing it. Now, granted, you're putting together some young studs and things of that nature, but do you try to get into those sweepstakes? Like when Kawhi was up, Paul George was up, LeBron was up. Are you trying to pitch as much as you can?
It's just like when you're single and you see a hot girl or a hot guy and you just go, hey. It's the same thing. Yeah, you throw it out there, even though the odds are slim.
Is that because Dallas, or why is that? Because they're thinking about LA, or is it because the setup?
Just because of circumstances or money. It's, guys sometimes have their mindset on where they want to go or who they want to play with, but you just never know. I mean, we've signed guys that we didn't expect to sign, and we've lost guys that we thought we would sign.
I can't thank you enough for joining us here 20 minutes into this thing. I have no idea if you had a hard out or not, but I have to get a Shark Tank question in or two.
Yeah, go on.
Do you guys get along, you and the rest of the Sharks, or do you hate some of them?
No, we get along. I mean, there's times when I hate them. It's just like, you work with somebody 12 hours a day. When you're shooting, you get annoyed with anybody, right? Kevin, Mr. Wonderful, he's not so wonderful. He's a dick, but I still like him. And I'm sure I annoy the hell out of them too, but I don't care.
Whenever somebody comes in to pitch their company, do you get a feeling that they want to work with you? Because there was one the other night, I guess, where this guy was pitching. I forget what the business was, and it was probably pre-taped or whatever from back ago. He was talking to you, and he was talking, I think I forget who it was. He was looking over everybody. Do you get a feeling like when people walk in, like, okay, this company wants me to be a partner with them? Like Gronk, for instance, when Gronk came in there, they wanted to be a partner with you and A-Rod. Like, that's who they wanted. Do you get that feeling from companies, and then you know that whenever you make the offer to them?
Every single one that walks in the door, I get that feeling.
That's awesome. That is
Unless it's like a thing for kids, little babies, I'm not into that. Or if it's like a really retail product, then it's going to go to Lori because of QVC and stuff like that. But everybody else, I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's mine for the taking.
You put a shot clock on some of these people when they have to make the biggest decision of their life. They just start sweating. Is that just for your own enjoyment, or is it like, hey, you want to work with me or not? Let's move forward.
A little bit of both, right? Because it's hard for them, right? And sometimes when people start vacillating back and forth, and you can tell, but they're afraid they're going to lose something, like, and get buyer's remorse, or they're worried there might be a little bit better offer. It's like, look, either you want to work with me or you don't. And so, on one hand, I just want to get it over with. And the other hand, it makes for good TV too. It is a TV show.
They start sweating. Dude Wipes has been quite a success story for you. And that was early in this entire thing. What are some of the things they do behind the tank and all that stuff? What are a couple companies that you've invested in that have had success that you're like, damn, I did not expect them to go the way they've gone?
There was a company called Cycloramic. So what Cycloramic did was it was an app that you put on your iPhone 5. This was 5 years, 6 years back. And the iPhone 5 had a flat bottom, right? So you could just stand it up straight, and it would use the sensors in it to make it turn and create a panoramic picture. Well, we sold a boatload of the app at like $1 each, and that got us our money back. But then the iPhone changed the way they look, right? And it's changed every year. So I thought, okay, these guys are toast. But to the guy's credit, the CEO, they pivoted to get into the car business, where they used that same technology, and they went to car companies that sold cars online and said, okay, now you can take a panoramic look of the car. Exactly right. And then 2 years ago, they sold it to Carvana for a boatload of money. And that Carvana stock has gone up from like 20 to 90. So that turned it in from a $20 million deal to like an enormous damn deal.
Put the number on it. Put the number on it. What was the number?
I think now it's worth like, my part is worth like 20 million.
Good for you. Mark, I can't thank you enough. When you run for president, we can't wait to help you win. You're a legend, man. A Yinzer legend. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Hey, and we're not done trying to buy the Dirty O, man. Did you ever go to the Dirty O when you were?
Yeah, in Oakland. Absolutely. You're going to put that thing back?
They closed. They closed, right?
Yeah.
And go out there trying to figure out a way to buy it. It's not over yet for all those Pittsburghers out there.
Oh, you're going to go save it. You're going to be like a Pittsburgh little hero here.
I'm trying. It's a long shot. They're making it hard, bro. They're making it hard. It's closed. It's easy. Just sell me this stuff. And they're like, yeah, they're over negotiating. So we'll see what happens.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Cuban.
Yeah! You guys are the best, man. But now, Pat, after seeing you, I got to go lift.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've been in the middle of a little bodybuilder run here because I'm trying to not be as fat. I like sandwiches. We're from Pittsburgh. I like to eat, so it's a problem.
Primanti's, baby. Primanti's.
Hey, you're damn right. And obviously, the first move to do whenever you have Mark Cuban on the show is pitch a company. So if you would like to own a little bit of PMI, 10 million, 10%. Let's move forward. You saw the Rogan deal. You saw the Barstool deal. You saw the Simmons deal.
What did you say? The connection's bad. I can't.
Hey, don't worry. With our investment, we'll be able to fix your tech. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Cuban. That was awesome. That was absolutely awesome.
Hey, guys. Thank you.
See you, Mark. You're the best.
Legend.
The fuck are we doing? We got Mark Cuban on the show?
Hey, you did well, man.
Yeah.
I felt pretty good about it. I
got it all in.
I felt pretty good. I think we got everything in. Presidents, right? Oh, aliens.
Yeah, he would have.
Next time he comes on.
Next time he comes on.
You don't want to overload the first time. You gotta save the aliens for next time.
Oh, he's on for what, 25 minutes there?
Yeah.
That's a long time. I would assume I'm getting a follow-up email from said schedule maker like, well, you went 10 minutes over, but we appreciate you.
What was his off day?
That was awesome. That was absolutely incredible. And I would just have to digest that and then recap that on McAfee and Hawk at 1 o'clock here. We got AJ back on, obviously. He asked his question about Robert Kraft, Tom Brady, which was a good question. He sent that to me this morning while I was taking a shit right before the show. The group's growing. That's probably the right move, by the way. The quarantine groups, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Then the McAfee and Diggses come, and then the McAfee, Diggs, and Schmitz come, and then the McAfee, Diggs, Schmitz, Foxes, Perez's, and McMahon's and Moraldo's come. And then, then at the end, the McAfee, Diggses, Schmitz, Foxes, Perez's, Moraldo's, McMahon's, and then the Campbells come. You know what I mean? They're kind of doing like, it's the final rollout, but you guys are there. But it is one of those things where I think that's probably the smart move. And that's probably what that guy meant from 22 to 50,000.
Yep.
It's like, well, we don't know if we're going to be able to test enough to get people together. Now it makes a lot more sense.
Do you think they're going to be checking IDs and like as long as you have the same address and that's how you get in your group, or you just have to you got to bring in a light bill with you to? And
who gets first access to those tickets? Which season ticket holder gets access to that? I don't know. They'll figure that out. Great conversation. I can't thank them enough. For myself, Emmett, you got to do your minutes. I mean, good luck here.
Come on, Mitt.
I feel like we covered a lot of very important stuff. Before we get out of here, ladies and gentlemen, we have an intern, which we are very against here, interns. His dad was a man who made me a lot of money, so we brought him in. Ladies and gentlemen, Mullet Mitts minutes from today, Thursday, May 21st.
All right, we started out talking about rewarding bad behavior, had a Mark Cuban preview. We talked about Chase Elliott giving Kyle Busch the bird.
Yeah.
Thank God basketball got so much better.
Hold on, Mullet Mitt.
This is per Chris Sims. Cowboys have offered Dak a 5-year, $175 million deal. That would make him the highest paid quarterback ever. It's $35 million annually. Dak reportedly wants north of $45 million in the last year.
Okay, so there's zero chance that they're getting a deal done then if it's $35 million annually, and he wants his last year of his deal to be north of $45 million. If that north of $45 million for your last year isn't guaranteed, that means you're going to be a casualty to the salary cap, which is potentially what he wants, by the way. Remember, he wanted a 4-year deal. The Cowboys have always wanted a 5-year deal. Allegedly, per reports, him making the last year worth $45 million is smart because he could potentially become a cap casualty and hit free agency again if they can't set it up and they can't figure it out. Or if that's guaranteed, it's like, hey, I want to at least get paid for the next 5 years. Or he's setting himself up for, since he wanted a 4-year deal, the salary cap, everybody's assuming is going to grow. Now, in 2021, it's going to take a hit if there's not as many crowd members. So he wants to get a jump on that first year of free agency is next time for $45 million a year, which will probably be what the standard is for Patrick Mahomes when he gets re-upped, which will probably be what Lamar Jackson does. Everybody said it was a 5 to 4 year problem. Now it's making sense that if it's going to be a 5-year deal, I want $45 million then, because that's probably what quarterbacks are going to make 5 years from now, with the rights going up, with television rights going up, with digital streams going up, international things going up. Football is basically taking off right now. That's what his agent says. And fine, if you want to give me a 5-year deal, that last year better be equal to what we think the rest of the league is going to be at for their first year of free agency. Smart business move by Dak Prescott. It seems like there's no chance that deal gets done. He's going to sign a franchise tag, and who knows what's going to happen after that. But this is the Cowboys, by the way, saying, we have been fucking trying. 5 years, $175 million. We are trying our best. And Dak's like, well, I want a 4-year deal. If you're going to make it a 5-year deal, I want a head start on that next deal then. This looks like this is going to be a dogfight all the way up until it. Shout out Chris Sims being an insider, by the way. I wonder who told him that information. Good for him.
Andy Dalton, here we go.
Buttoned up. Andy Dalton's looking at this news like, I just signed for $3 million. Fuck it. Mullet Mitt, finish your minutes, please.
Congrats to Connor for graduating. We talked about if Jordan would have played in today's NBA. We talked about some name calling on Twitter. We had Matt Light on the show. We talked about his $10 raffle to go see Brady and Gronk play against Drew Brees. We talked about some sweaty butts and quarterback manicures. We talked about Brady unifying his teammates and wanting to throw the ball every play. We talked about the pass setting up the run. And then we got a good look at Pat cleaning up the pocket.
Mm-hmm. You did see that, wasn't it? Yeah, okay.
We talked about a Manscaped ad. We had Mike Trout's $900,000 rookie card.
Damn.
We talked about South Korea using sex dolls as live sport crowd members.
That could be what the sex dolls are saying. You just can't hear them.
Yeah. We talked about
turn the sound off. Is there a button for that? You guys are paying a couple thousand at the pub for these things.
Let me Google it real quick.
Thank you. So I turn the sound off probably at the pub. You got too many roommates.
No batteries.
Well, it probably wouldn't make much noise anyways with you guys. You guys did not deserve that, by the way.
That makes sense.
Nah, you guys have been taking some shots from me today. You have not deserved it. I apologize for that.
We talked about how sex dolls are kind of expensive. We talked about NASCAR's COVID come up. We talked about alternative universes, Antarctica, particles, time going backwards, and alien bukkake, and what in the fornicate is going on.
We did talk about that.
We had Mark Cuban coming up for 13 minutes. That's in the notes. We had we talked about Pat and Aaron Rodgers' slow playing text relationship.
Yep.
A Simply Safe home security ad. Mark Cuban in 6 minutes. Owning a professional sports team would be really cool. Pippen ain't happy. We then had Mark Cuban on. And it is confirmed Pat is badass. We talked about the possibilities of finishing the NBA season Hotel California style, players understanding businesses and being their own brands. Once a Pirates fan, you're always a Pirates fan.
Not true. I am fucking not a fan. If Mark Cuban owns the Pirates, by the way, I'm all the way back.
We talked about Mark looking at potentially buying the Pirates one day, or back in the day, and then now looking at maybe buying them. Would rather be shooting hoops or chilling.
He's not going to.
He's getting there.
No, he said maybe after his kids are older.
He'll revisit it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Mitts.
You're close. That was very close.
He said he would rather be shooting hoops or chilling with his friends and family over being a politician, but has not closed the door on running for office 2024. We talked about how unemployment is rising. Small businesses got to be agile. The government getting involved in creating jobs, and entrepreneurs creating opportunity to get people's jobs back.
Attaboy, Emmett. Here we go. Hey, this is the most diverse Mullet Mitts minutes yet, and you are almost finished with the show. Can the kid finish it out? Can he stay off the Mullet Mitts heirs board another day? We will find out right now.
Come on, Mitt.
We talked about quarantine groups being able to sit together at NBA games.
Yeah.
No one can be certain about anything during this moment. We talked about a super committee Zoom meeting.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about his relationship with the White House. NBA the NBA partnering with Disney to finish the season, star players and free agency. We talked about Kraft and Brady's relationship. Yeah. We talked some Shark Tank during the whole thing.
Yeah,
he told a nice story of first being a guest on Shark Tank and going in there to raise hell.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Arrive, raise hell, get hired for 13 more seasons. Good for Mark Cuban.
We talked about how they just finished up season 11. He said Mr. Wonderful is a dick,
Yeah,
and we
I did
talked
say that.
some enormous deals. And now Dak Prescott being offered the highest contract ever. That was the show.
That'll do it! That's so good! It's been a great Thursday, May 21st. We're back with McAfee and Hawk in 57 minutes. You're the greatest humans on earth for watching the show. You don't have to. I know that. So that you do, we're thankful for. Hit the subscribe button, which is right down here.
Left hand.
Right down here. We're on our mission to get to 1 million. We're on our way. Shout out Mark Cuban and Matt Light. What a fucking day. You guys, we'll see you in an hour. You're the greatest. This has been the Pat McAfee Show, Thursday, May 21st.